Oh, my headphones aren't working. That's not good, is it? Why? Oh, I'm probably coming out of the wrong device here. That means you guys might not hear this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to part 4. Again, it's really weird to hear me say part 4 there. Of Absolution. There we go. Is that working now? It is. Which is basically going to be the end of the patch here. Here I'm on Gux at the moment. Famous Gux, if you remember, when End of Dragons came out. I picked this bad boy. He's supposed to look like the ultimate, like the default concept art Necromancer Asura. Or just like so when they first announced the Necromancer, they had like this image of an Asura, and I kind of went for that. But then we did like the one eye thing. I really like this character, but I've got a weird thing where I have like multiple characters for PvE, and so he's basically been my World vs. Worlder for a while now. And yeah, I was playing a little bit of World vs. World this week. Not much. Mostly trying out... so this is a roaming build. This is the Death Magic Celestial Harbinger, basically. So what you do is you dump condies on people, gaining carapace stacks, which then starts pulsing prot on you, and it gives you more condi damage and more power. It's pretty cool. There's lots of cleanse on there. There's a good amount of stun break stability. I've gone with the Elixir of Bliss. And it just vomits damage on people. So it seems all right. Unfortunately, it doesn't have great mobility. It doesn't have any stealth. So you are kind of in less control than on some other classes to like get out when you are in those big outnumbers. You can win a lot of 2v1s and maybe even the odd 3v1. But it's kind of difficult to not get mobbed. And so, I don't know, I'm leaning back on going towards Mesmer or something. Anyway, yeah, so I've just been playing a little bit of that. Welcome, guys. We're actually not going to be on him today. We're obviously going to be back over on Lord Odrin. Shit. Did I log out right before the tick there? That would have sucked. Hopefully not. There's a very funny comment in chat here at the moment from everything. How do I use my Guild Wars 2 knowledge to charm women on dating apps, WoodenPotatoes? Here's what you do. You info dump. You sit them down. You say, let's have a conversation, and you don't really let them speak, okay? And you sit there for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3, 4's probably a push, and you just talk about the lore. That's it. That's all you do. Just talk. And if it sounds like they have a question or they want to contribute in some way, say, oh, no, just let me finish, and then you keep going. And if at the end of those few hours you haven't, won over some hearts, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, and Gux is a really good Asura name, isn't it? Definitely. So, what are we doing here today? Those of you who have been following the videos will probably know quite well. We've already beaten the story. In the last part, we did just a massive kind of round table, like community reactions to the story. I'd like to say that was like a two-sided thing where there were a lot of people defending its quality and there were a lot of people... who were miffed by it. But it was pretty much all us talking about, ways in which we felt it failed, which was a little bit of a shame, I guess. Now, I do have some more comments, so we'll do one more Q&A section, but not like a massive one, just a little bit here. Some final roundup from you guys, just a couple. And what today's episode is going to be, the content I've actually still not played, the stuff that I've missed. So, namely, map comp. I haven't looked at any of the vistas on this map. There are 6 points of interest we didn't go to, and a waypoint. The waypoint is really interesting to me, because, like, what? This map is structured waypoint, and then just basically it's a meta map, right? This is essentially, what you can look at Barbanisos as, is the shortest, thinnest meta map. This is like a Dragonfall style map, right? Dragon Stand style map. But the lanes are really short. So anyway, so we'll get map comp. And while we do that, there's going to be that ghostly Messiah Anthos, who hopefully will talk to us. There are a couple of lore books, you guys have confirmed to me, and there's a jumping puzzle. So there's the second jumping puzzle of the expansion, with the first being the Beehive area in this map. Though the Beehive area was not a full-blown jumping puzzle, was it really? It was, more like just a chamber that you can clamber around in. There was also the trees that you could climb that were merged with an event. I thought that was quite an interesting part of the expansion. Like, reflecting on the expansion and reviewing it, a lot of people have been saying the events were really bad. And I think certainly on this map, the events were not very inspired. But back on the first map, there were a lot of really good events, I thought. And whether that one climbing around the trees was one of them. Anyway, there was also the adventure where you, like, glide from torch to torch to torch, really. And I liked that, too. So there's been... The thing is, guys, since Mounts came out, that idea of, like, hard delineated jumping puzzles versus just a lot of jumping and clambering in the regular exploration is kind of like... There's not such a hard line anymore. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to... There's the other waypoint. It's called the Hidden Nodule. Maybe that's where it is. Anyway, so that's what we'll be doing today. Those are the 3 things, and then we're done, really. Oh, no. And there is another thing. I have a mail here. Well, I have a mail about Dragon Bash, actually. Holy shit, we're already back at Dragon Bash. You see this mail here called Help with Touchstones. I haven't clicked it. I haven't read it. That is the side story. There might be 2 side stories. And I like the subject header. I know nothing about it. I did think that Touchstones was a bit of a weird new development during the main story, so we'll see what that's about. You get that mail. Now, you'll notice I didn't get that mail on the previous parts. You get that mail from having done all 3 lanes of the meta. So not only have I been playing a little bit of World vs. World with Gux, I also did the North lane and the South lane. And I know what you're thinking, WP, that sounds fascinating. That was really interesting. What adventures, great adventures did you go on? It's basically a small escort and then using a Warclaw or a Siege Turtle to break a wall. And then you fight these lungs. It's the same boss, it doesn't change. And basically you're on a small platform and there are these constant triangular AoE telegraphs coming out like this. And, you know, they'll glow orange and you need to dodge or step out of them. If you don't, this is the lung breathing, basically. It's a push. If you get hit by the orange tail, you get pushed off the platform. And it's really long. When you're in the Centro area, there was more to do. But here, you're going to be just basically... It's an event, actually, that's kind of good, I guess. You can't, like, play it absent-mindedly. You can't have one eye on Reddit on your other monitor or whatever because you've already tagged it. Because you'll just get blown off over and over and over and over and over again. And then sometimes there's, like, a portal appears that you break. And if you don't, it will spawn a veteran that you kill. I mean, that's it. And you just break the lungs. And then yeah, so you got to do that, and then I was excited to go to South and see the same, but see how it was different, but it was basically the same. Do all 3 lanes, and you get this mail. So that's it. All right, let's move over to your questions now, and oh, not questions, just comments, and we'll see what people have to say. I've added them all onto the slideshow here. Oh no, this was a comment on Grimrock I got that I shared on Discord. I'm really thinking of creating a new channel. First of all. So, you know I do the live notifications over on Discord? I had someone messaging me, 2 people messaging me actually since the last episode, saying that it doesn't work the way that I thought it did. That when you join Discord, you have to like opt in to even be able to see the announcements, which kind of ruins the idea. So I don't know. If anyone's got any thoughts about that live announcement thing, like if it hasn't worked for you or it's just a shit way to get notifications or something, let me know. I thought it was working quite well, but I guess not. Anyway, I was thinking of merging that with the announcements channel. Like, I currently have announcements and live announcements, but we never use announcements for anything. I could just have announcements for everything. So I might merge that. But the other thing I really think I might do is, you know, I've got like a WP content help channel for people who need advice about my content or who want to help me. And then I have, you know, just chat and discussion, which we use. I'm thinking of adding a 3rd one, which is just like comment showcase. Because I get so many... I get the pleasure of waking up in the morning, reading my comments, and seeing that someone left something on a Grimrock episode or something, you know, that I shot a long time ago. But nobody else does, you know. The guy that leaves that message, basically, you know, you don't get any eyeballs on it. And it's quite often I'm like, I kind of want to just screenshot that and dump that into Discord. And maybe a dedicated channel for that would be quite cool, you know. So it'd be like WP comment showcase or something. Anyway, I'm way off topic here. Okay, so let's get in on this. Oh my god. Can I just say I'm really thirsty right now, and I've got ice cold apple juice. I had cider the other day. I've got apple juice here. Oh my god, it's so good. Apple juice is like the king of the juices. Hardy says you'd get more comments if YouTube would stop deleting them. Yeah, someone's going to allude to that here. I don't know what to tell you. I've looked at my moderation controls. They're like super lax. There's a couple of like, I guess, swearing-based, you know, filters or whatever. But well, YouTube 100%, if someone drops, like, a couple of comments, it starts killing them. If someone drops a really long comment, it starts killing them. It's like, I don't know. It's really weird, right? Because for years, my belief and assumption about YouTube was that it was where rational conversation went to die. You know, you go to any popular video anywhere on YouTube, it felt like. And just like the level of discourse, the rudeness, the shallow takes, just the shittiness is just unreal, right? Like YouTube comments were by and large a cesspit. That's how it felt for years. And I'd look at places like Reddit and think, oh yeah, there's more informed discussion here, or dedicated, like when it comes to gaming, dedicated gaming forums. But more recently, I feel like that's got all twisted. I feel like the kind of discourse and takes you get on Reddit now is awful. Unless you're in very small subs, it's really pathetic, very, very, very bad. But when it comes to YouTube, you know, if you look at content creators around my side, small creators, you know, who care about their comments and who encourage their comments, you know, they're not bad. They're really not bad. You'll occasionally get some buffoon wandering in or whatever, but they're not bad. They're actually, you know, and I really like them. I think they're really good. So it's funny how that kind of flipped, you know, in a way. The other thing that still blows my mind is, like, if you go to Steam game discussions, like community discussions about games on Steam, is also just horrendous. The level of chat that you get in those is fucking crazy. I was reading like a discussion thread where a guy made a criticism about a game, and this like other dude came at him so angry about it, like basically started talking about how he lived in Northamptonshire and everyone who lived in Northampton's like a shithead, and just like getting really personal and crazy with these attacks about something completely unrelated in a game. And I thought, oh my god, this is ludicrous. Anyway, sorry, let's get into it. Sorry, Michael Major 1549. I see your comment here. Let's read it. Okay. So, WP, in the mission just before Mabon comes through the gate into Tyria, Livia makes a comment that the scepter quivered like it was terrified. Yeah, I remember that. They added a bit of drama to whatever was coming through the gate, and I thought it was going to be Menzies. Wouldn't have thought Mabon, but then it turns out to be Mabon. And Michael says, wouldn't have thought Mabon's Mist Spirit would do that to the scepter. Like, why would it? And in the map, the NPC at the base camp, talking of a broken mirror artifact, I don't know, might be some kind of cruel irony of Menzies having manipulated things further, a part of the same mirror his brother used in Living World Season 3, sorry. The mirror isn't usable after Living World Season 3, but maybe he learned some trickery from it in some way, discarded it, or had another one. Yeah, this has been floating around. Let's address this head on. Is it a good story for Mabon to be Menzies? To do the same thing as Season 3. Like, the exact same thing. You know, where Lazarus was Balthazar. Sorry, Balthazar was Lazarus. And now Menzies is masquerading as Mabon. Is that a good story? So, look, the knee-jerk reaction is to say, it's lazy. They've done it before. Oh my god, how uncreative. But look, I think if they did do this story, it wouldn't be lazy, would it? It wouldn't be uncreative. That's such a hyper-specific repeat of the past. That's such a, like, very, very deliberate move to make. That it would be intentional and knowing. It's not that they've ran out of ideas and copied the same thing. It's that the commander would be like, what the fuck, this happened before, we'd get conversations about it. It would be that Menzies specifically is following Balthazar's plan, you know, blah, 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 blah. So, in that world, I think it could be cool. Really. You know, it's so crazy, but you can make it, it could be justified. The thing is, right, it's also a story where I think you need a lot of dialogue and time to reflect for it to work. You need a lot of that weight. You need a lot of opportunities to speak to NPCs. They need to bulk out the main story with far more dialogue. And so far, I have seen zero evidence Arenanet have any intention of doing that. So in the Guild Wars 2 format of storytelling, where it's very quick and light, and we've got all these loose strands everywhere, I don't think they could pull this off in a good way. So I'm very iffy about the idea. But your theory that Livia says, oh, the Scepter's afraid, because it is Menzies, and they're playing on that, you know, then yeah, that's kind of cool. I'll offer you an alternate explanation though that isn't anything to do with Menzies. The scepter quivered because Mabon was coming to destroy it. Effectively, Mabon's intent. It can read people's intent, right? We know this at least. And Mabon's intent was to tell Livia to sacrifice the scepter, whatever that means. Because it didn't get sacrificed in the end, did it? Or we didn't see it get destroyed or anything. He was just holding it the other side. So I don't know where I am. It's a fun theory. On that note as well, by the way, of getting more dialogue in there and an Arenanet's not doing it. We were talking about this on Discord a little bit the other day. And someone mentioned that you can watch... I think Matthew Medina has some video where he's talking about Secrets of the Obscure, maybe, or something? Anyway, or alludes to... I haven't seen this quote or this timestamp, but alludes to this idea of a text budget. Which is really interesting if that's true. So basically this idea that, oh, the higher-ups, whoever, they've said, look, you can't have X amount of text in this update. You can't go over it. Now, why would a budget like that exist? Because they think it's boring for players? Well, no, come on. Most of that stuff is opt-in. Is it because of localization? That was the theory that people said over on the Discord. So the idea being they don't want to have too much text because they got to translate it into French, German, and Spanish. I mean, Jesus, come on. There's not even that many languages. I thought there were more text languages than audio languages. There are. Spanish. Spanish is an additional one. Jesus, Guild Wars 1 had loads of them. I mean, come on, guys. Look, I know that there's a big moral panic and outrage and people are a bit deluded and all this about, you know, generative AI and stuff. But we are in the world of DeepL these days, right? Like, translation services are not that crazy. I don't know. Can that be right? Can that be right? Also, apparently they get a lot of the translations really done. You could argue, oh, well, DeepL might be low quality sometimes. But they get them wrong all the time anyway. People who are playing the game... And look, far be it from me to speak for this community because I'm not a part of this community. But my understanding is that most people who play Guild Wars in French, right, they understand it's a bit shoddy. They get it. They know that it's an English game and it's a little bit weak with the translation. That's kind of just something that a lot of people have to live with. And I'm very privileged and lucky and whatever because I'm speaking English and this is English media, so I don't have to deal with that issue. But a lot of people kind of... They're in that headspace anyway of, like, expecting a dodgy translation sometimes, or, like, dodgy voice acting sometimes, or less variety in the voice acting. That's the world they're already living in. So, look, I don't get this argument that they'd have a text budget because of localization. That just seems so weird to me. I don't know, but the idea being, right, so I think it's alluded to by this dev, this writer, really, saying, look, I had all these ideas, I wanted to put this stuff in, but there was this text budget. And I couldn't go over it for the release, so a lot of it got cut out. That, to me, is fucking insane. That's... Oh, God, that depresses the shit out of me. Like, what? Who does that serve? Who does a text budget serve? Moving on from the localization argument. So, it comes down to this thing again, right? We were talking about this in the comments and in Discord. This thing about, like, voice acting, right? You can say, oh, they don't put more text in because they don't want to voice it all. No, I'm not talking about voice acting. I'm talking about text, okay? So, like, I am not an advocate for lowering the amount of voice acting in the game. A lot of people don't enjoy the story if they're not voice acted. We all get a kick out of hearing the commander be voice acted, even though there's so many variations in languages whenever that happens, right? I get it. I get the voice acting is important, and I'm not advocating for a Guild Wars with no voice acting. Never have I advocated for that. I'm not advocating for cutting out voice acting. The same amount of voice work can be... And voices are so important for open world, right? Where you need to really be able to hear what Anise and Livia are saying without reading it. Dynamic events need voice acting. I'm not advocating for less voice acting. What I am advocating for is more text. More opportunities to speak to the NPCs. And just by its very nature, that tends to be optional. So, the idea there's a text budget because people will get bored because there's too much to read. I mean, what are we... It's not voice acted anyway. So you can click through... Like, if I can speak to Arena here, you know, it's so annoying. Honestly, I can't even fucking speak to people in these maps. They literally just don't even have press F dialogue. What I'm talking about, right? Let's find any citizen with a name. Timmy here. Sorry, Tierney. Okay. Oh. Oh, wow, their face didn't render in there. Oh, there we go. Oh, because they were cold, and they got cold from that as well. That's interesting. Right. This This is what I'm talking about. Maybe this original block up here can be voiced, if you like. But when I give her a dignity response, maybe a dignified response, maybe you shouldn't tell people you know the reads personally. You see how it went yellow when I clicked that, by the way? Because it was dignified. The background. This doesn't need to be, you know, like I did that as an optional thing. And this is where we can get so much more, you know. Players who are interested in the story, who want to know what the fuck the heart of the obscure is with Waiting Sorrow, should have been able to ask her about it. Like 100 opportunities throughout the expansion. And you're telling me, oh, we can't voice act that. Fine, don't voice act it. All right? But you can put it in the game, and you can't say, oh, but people will get bored. Well, then they won't click it in the first place. So it's not really... I don't understand why there would be a text budget. If the localization isn't that much of a roadblock, and I mean, am I being crazy suggesting it's not? I don't think it is. Like, who does that serve? You've got players who are passionate to hear more details. You've got devs that are passionate to deliver those details, and we don't get them. From my perspective, just as a player, not looking at any dev commentary outside of the game or anything, as a player, what I see is a lack of interest from the studio's part. That's how it comes across in game. It looks like they don't care to put that stuff in. It looks like writing more NPC dialogue and interactions between the commander and the other characters is boring to them. Like, look at Stoic Alder, right? So Stoic Alder, in this storyline, about 5 minutes into the story, gives us that massive poem, right? And it's unearned. I don't know who Stoic Alder really is at that point. I've not got any connection to him. I can barely retain the difference between his name and the name of his son at that point in the story, right? And here he is, trauma dumping effectively on me, giving me this huge... And it's a beautiful poem, and it's really well written. But none of it's like there hasn't been the screen time or the interaction time for that. And when I say screen time, right, giving people things to read is screen time. So I replayed this patch on Liss as well. When I did those the North and the South meta event, I had to get on the map. I wanted to do it with Liss, so I had to do this first instance. And you know what? I rushed through this on Liss. You remember when you're here, you go to the White Mantle camp, you press F on some of the stuff, right, over here. I rushed through it on Liss. You know what? That first instance is really short. Very quick. Because you just press F, and then you hit escape to close it. And you press F, and you hit escape. And you come over here. And you just walk around. So for Liss, for a player that's not interested in the story, this is a very, very short instance. For a player that is interested in the story... You could spend 40 minutes in here, right? That is screen time to me. That lengthens the story. If I had lots of opportunities to speak to Stoic Alder, even just through text, right? No voice acting or anything, just moments to talk to him, I might have cared more when he gave me that poem that early on. But they don't write any of it. And what it comes across to me is they're not interested in any of that. What it comes across to me is... Oh, they just want to tell the poem. They just want to do the emotional bit, thinking that it's earned in some way, and it's like not doing your homework, so to speak, or whatever. And that's when talking about emotional beats, which is one thing, because I think, you know, I'm a bit of a cold person, to be honest. A lot of people, you know, wear their emotions much more in their sleeve. Some people probably will have really been affected by the poem and blah blah blah. So fine, maybe you get some people. That's emotional beats. But when it comes to like plot holes. It's really got to be there. It's got to be there, and it's not. And so that's what's just very weird to me. That thing about the text budget. If that is their operating practice, I would really rather that go away. And I do mean go away. Like, what is the point in capping it? You might realize that like a certain conversation is way too overloaded with info and it's taking too long. You might realize that, and maybe you cull a bit of detail here or there. But that is not Guild Wars' problem, especially considering the people who aren't that interested. When it's not voice acted, you can skim. You know, you can take it at your own pace. You can not click the option. You can click the option and then click out really quickly when you realize it's uninterested. You can click the option and skim it, or you can click the option and read it slowly. Or you can fucking let's play it. Click the option, read it slowly, spend half an hour talking about it, go to the next one. Yeah, so, I don't know. Anyway, how we got there from all of that... Yeah, okay, so I believe in, like, this Mabon is Menzies thing in a model where we get more story. And what's weird, right, is we do get a lot of story from the lore books. And so, oh yeah, another argument that came up on Discord, right, is, okay, but WP, if this is all information that's now buried in these long conversations, a lot of people will skip, they'll miss it, and then the main plot doesn't make sense to them anymore. Hello? We're already in that world. This fucking patch has as the final... This expansion has as the final boss the three white mantle guys that you did not know about if you skipped the side stories, which is what a lot of people did. We're already living in that world. And it's that thing as well, like, where if you as the consumer... Like, I had this with Fallout 76. I'll give you guys a quick... I mentioned this in a recent video. When I played Fallout 76 last year, for a good 50 hours, I was not into it. Maybe 20 hours or something. I was not into it. The stories were uninteresting to me. I wasn't connected with my character. I wasn't connected with the world. I didn't have a grip on the game mechanics. So when random NPCs came up to me and started, you know, like, doing their dialogue dumps and stuff, I got really bored of it. And sitting there trying to listen to it and trying to force myself to focus on it when I wasn't that connected with the game was really hard. It was really tedious. I wasn't enjoying myself. But what was really nice about Fallout 76 was I could just skip that dialogue, right? So when we last talked about this, we were talking about it in the frame of skipping dialogue. So for those 20 hours, I skipped and skim-read a huge amount of the dialogue. Still kept a little bit of interest, but kind of just glossed over that shit, right? Eventually, I did connect with my character. I did connect with the world. And at that point, I started focusing on the story more again. And I fell in love with it, and I realized it's really good. Now, that experience I had, there's nothing wrong with that. The fact that I glossed over some earlier stuff and then got more into it later, not because the quality of the writing changed, but just because of my engagement with the product changed. That's fine, and that's something that a lot of people have experiences with all the time, right? A very good example, if you've been following my Final Fantasy XIV content, Shadowbringers is excellent. It's a really, really, really good story. And if you watch my streams over on my second channel from a couple of years ago, you'll see me getting really engaged with it and really loving it. But most people got burnt out of that game during A Realm Reborn, all the really boring early shit. They didn't like it. They glossed over. They skimmed over it. But eventually the game recaptured them, right? So this happens with games all the time. So what I think really we have to acknowledge here is that the people who aren't that interested can be allowed to have the power to skip through that stuff, and they'll still be retained at a later point. And you know, hopefully that gets us somewhere. I had a bigger point that I was trying to make here. What were we talking about just a second ago? That was the argument about skipping story. Shit. Ah, I'm really annoyed with myself. It fell out. What was the original point I was trying to make? Oh, yeah, no, I remember the original point I was trying to make. Okay, so there's this idea, right? People might miss crucial information, and then they won't understand the story, right? So a lot of us have that experience where we play the games, and we're kind of glossing over it. We're kind of skimming through it. We're not really paying that much attention. When we get to the end of that story, so when I was in those 20 hours of Fallout, okay, and I got to the end of those stories where I knew I'd been skimming and glossing over, did I go to the forums and bitch? Did I write a big Steam review and complain it was terrible? Did I drop tweets? Did I go to Reddit? Did I share my word of mouth? Did I condemn the game? Did I blame Fallout 76 for that at that time? No, I didn't. Because I, as a consumer, knew that I, as a consumer, had made my own decision to skim it. So I didn't have an accurate assessment of the story. So I couldn't really tell. So it may have been, right, that in those 20 hours of Fallout 76, it may have been it was shit. The actual story was bad, and it was boring. But the thing is, because I had been skipping, I couldn't attest to that. So there was a chance that maybe it was all right. I just don't really know. I wasn't that into it, and I started skimming, and I don't really know. And do you see how that's actually kind of a good thing for Fallout 76? There may be legitimate criticism there, but because, you know, some people sort of just glossed through it, they weren't really in a place to fully argue against it. And so the game managed to, you know, gloss through those rough patches. That's actually kind of a good thing for the game. It's good for Fallout 76 that it got to hide its kind of shoddy story, because a lot of players kind of just zoned out, and they knew at that point once they'd zoned out they didn't have everything. It would be the same for Guild Wars, all right? Imagine if Janthir Wilds had lots more dialogue, lots more side stories, just like this White Mantle side story, where, you know, playing it does improve the ending a bit. Imagine there were loads of them. There weren't just like 3 or 4. There were like 10 or 20, okay? And a lot of people didn't do it. Those who do it can have a full assessment of the story, but everyone else who kind of skipped, people who, imagine that they were still doing side-by-side cutscenes, and people just skip. You know, you go to the Lion's Arch instance, and these, like, streamers that start playing the game just go skip, and they move on, right? And then they do the next thing, and they go skip. They're not going to blast the game based on its storytelling quality, because they know that they didn't really experience the story, and they know it was their choice as well. They weren't forced to not experience the story. So they'll chalk that up to a personal thing for themselves. And so, like, this weird middle ground where Guild Wars forces, like, you know, it did a bunch of... they paid a bunch of streamers to play this Janthir Wilds, right? And then they just got stuck sitting there in the Lion's Arch instance, like, wondering what the hell. It's kind of like this thing where they're kind of forcing people who aren't engaged to try to engage, and it's just not working, right? But, so I'm a big advocate, guys. I don't believe in this idea that, oh, you can't let people miss stuff. No, let them miss it. If people want to miss stuff, let them miss it. It actually insulates the game against story criticism from people who aren't invested in the story, and it allows people to appreciate other parts of the product at the same time. Let them miss it. So again, I ask you to finally finish off, that's my third point about this. Why do we have a text budget? Let them miss it. It really doesn't matter. So look, I really minced words there. No, not minced words. I took a long fucking time to explain what I was trying to say there. But hopefully I did it in a somewhat legible way. Anyway, right, let's move on. Number 2. That was a big rant, and it wasn't even really a direct response to the comment. There are some profoundly self-unaware people out there. Yeah, but who gives a shit? You know, we're talking about proportions. Proportionally, a smaller percent of people, you know, it doesn't matter whether there's the odd outlier, you know. You bring me 3 examples and tell me there's an epidemic, when in fact it's like, you know, 0.05% of the population. It doesn't matter, does it? Anyway, when it comes to words, you're a real mincer. Sorry, I'm trying to look at live chat here a little bit more. Not gonna lie, disagree with streamers skipping stuff and not saying the story is bad. Literally all non-Guild Wars 2 content players I see play this game complain about the story, despite skipping it all. No, but they don't skip it. What do they skip? They don't skip it. They sit there while NPCs yap, right? New flavor of the month word there. And get frustrated. They don't skip it. They're forced to, like, half sit around, and that's what antagonizes them about it, and then they bitch. You know, you're right to point out, right? There is an issue with Guild Wars. There's always... Since Heart of Thorns, okay? Heart of Thorns is a really good story. Well, okay. How much do we want to be an advocate here? Alright, Heart of Thorns has detail, but really, when you're in Verdant Brink, you want to do all the metas in Verdant Brink, and hopefully get some collectibles and pickups, right? And do the green starburst. It's very different if you do all that shit, and the same in Auric Basin, and the same in Tangled Depths, and then, you know, and then it really becomes very obvious at Dragon's Stand. If you skip the final meta, you know, you're missing all the spectacle of the end. So, like, but people didn't understand that. They just went green starburst, green starburst, green starburst, green starburst, and then they were like, oh, I don't have any experience. Why aren't my masteries leveling? This is bad. And they didn't realize, like, the game is more about just following the fucking green starburst. But Guild Wars never really taught them that, you know. It never really encouraged people to fan out in the way that they should to get full quality out of the story. So there is a problem, right? There is... see, and my argument almost is like, if doing green starburst, green starburst, green starburst takes you about 10 hours, you might delude yourself into thinking you've played the whole thing. If doing green starburst, green starburst, green starburst takes 20 minutes to beat the whole expansion, even the most you know, incurious of consumer is going to say to themselves, huh, did I really play the game? And they're going to think, okay, I need to tackle this media differently because that's weird. And they'll think, okay, maybe I'll take exploration into my own hands. Okay, maybe I will do the metas. Or maybe I will listen to the dialogue. Maybe I will, you know, and at that point, you've got them. Do you understand what I mean? So, like, truly letting people skip the dialogue scenes and just fucking bomb around. You kind of want to go all or nothing, I think, with this, right? To truly illustrate to people, you know, are you really experiencing the game or not? As it happens, like, you look at Janthir Wilds, you look at Secrets of the Obscure, you look at half their projects, people will have a very thin, but sort of forced to sit down experience with the game, and they'll think, well, I've experienced the whole thing, and they'll come out with their criticisms, and many of them valid, right? There are valid criticisms for Heart of Thorns, there are valid criticisms for POF, there are definitely valid criticisms for End of Dragons and the Ice Brutara and all blah blah blah. I'm not trying to hide valid criticisms. I'm just saying, you know, like, I think there's a weird disconnect in the psychology of how people approach Guild Wars, where the devs want them to do it one way, and they do it the other. And the problem with the mini X-Packs is, even if you want to engage more, like I want to engage more, there's not much to engage with right now because of the whole text budget thing. So yeah. Anyway, right, let's go on. Are we seriously only on comment 2 right now? Fuck me, we are. Okay, this is from Narek, who left quite a few messages. I've got a couple. There really aren't many here, by the way, guys. Oh no, sorry, we're on 3. Oh yeah, because the first one was the Grimrock thing. Okay, I see the story about how the Scepter is dangerous as great art about the limits of democracy. If too many people believe rumors and superstition, then you will get democratic decisions that are flawed from the beginning. That is exactly what happened with the LA vote. Instead of hearing the experts, namely Isgaran and Livia, more Alliance delegates agreed with Queen's biased opinion that it is dangerous and didn't really have any evidence to support it. And that is basically the only problem for what Livia did. I went on a roller coaster with this comment when I first read it. Because you called the Lion's Arch scene great art. Or specifically, you called the us getting outvoted great art. I don't know how... That's a pretty low bar. I would say if that's great art for you. That's very condescending, isn't it? I don't think it's great art. Alright? However, you've got an interesting point that I want to agree with. It's a fun idea that this shows, you know, how the democratic process can fail, how, you know, an informed population is necessary, blah, 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 blah. It's an interesting idea. It is in the story underneath when you think about it. But I think since these elements are not emphasized at all, there's not a moment where you go to, you know, an outvoted council member and they say, oh, they've been trapped by her bias, or, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. We're the experts. There's none of that commentary in there at all. And they certainly don't, like, frame it about, you know, just the idea of democracy in general. So, I mean, they do a little, very, very, very little bit. So I just don't see it, you know. I think it needs to be emphasized a little bit more by the story. It doesn't feel like that's what Arenanet were thinking about particularly deeply. But yeah, it is there, I think. John Sellers, dude, thanks very much for the 10 memberships. You know, it's amazing. When John's away, the amount of members we get basically vanishes. Thank you, John. Seriously, man, I don't know what to say to you. Thank you very much. Thank you to anyone who got a membership or gifted a membership lately. Honestly, guys, or a donation. Thank you all. So, yeah. Sorry, in chat here, Black Dream Hump says, I blame WP for Guild Wars 2's downfall too with hardcore stuff. What do you mean? Guild Wars 2 is a financial disaster. There's a weird thing going on. By the way, another complete tangent here, guys. Someone mentioned on Discord the other day that there's no trademark for the next mini X-Pack that people have discovered. And so the assumption is that this next announcement Like, the most recent thing they trademarked or renewed or whatever was just the Guild Wars 2 name. So there's a theory out there that the next announcement they do next month is not a mini X-Pack. It's a changing of the guard again, and we're on to a new thing. We won't even get 3 mini X-Packs. And what I want to talk about there is I just want to ask you guys in the YouTube comments or in the chat, how valid is that of an observation? Because to me, it's interesting, like, how does any... Isn't it possible they just managed to hide? I mean, how does that shit work? I don't know anything about fucking copyright law. Did they just manage to hide the fact that they trademarked a thing? Is that not possible? If that's not possible, right, how does anyone ever conceal any announcement ever? Right? How do you conceal the name of a book coming up? How do you conceal the name of a film coming up? How do you do that? Because surely people do that. So, yeah, we haven't seen one for Guild Wars, but does that really mean there's no mini... my assumption would be that it's just... they've done it on the sly or whatever, which is in their best interest. It sort of sucks when people know the name of the thing before it comes out. Isn't that right? I don't know. I mean... Oh, here we go. Yeah, look, we're getting some good insights here. We're getting some good insights. Okay, so sorry. Nanny says the wait time for approval is 7 months, and they still have not submitted anything, so it is weird. They can't hide it. It's public. Well, again, my question to you is... any product ever, any media, any franchise installment ever, people can figure it out 7 months before? That doesn't seem right to me. Surely that's not right. Azure Avocado says the trademark usually releases 5 to 7 days before the announcement, and they will use fake company names. Azara says, you know what, I'm gonna text my patent law friend. BRSP says, I'm not sure how the hiding and such would go, but the trademark publication just being delayed is very believable to me. USPTO has cut a lot of support staff. Stuff is just slowing down. Nanny says, no, they can't hide it. I saw games announced in Summerfest months in advance. No, I appreciate that you might have seen it happen. We've all seen it happen. But that doesn't mean it always happens, right? Like, it's like the toupee fallacy, isn't it? Whenever you notice someone with a toupee, you say, oh god, all toupees look bad. But the truth is, you just didn't realize all the times that you didn't notice the toupee. I think they say that about fake boobs too, don't they? Or I guess just any level of plastic surgery. Do you understand what I mean? Like that's a logical fallacy. Do we see it every time? Some companies trademark loads of stuff all at once to throw people off. But they are public knowledge. They submit it as a fake LLC. It's thousands of names to skim through every day, too. Yeah, one of the LLD companies was called Secret River Enterprises, which references Guild Wars 1. The Secret River? What, the River Allen? The Thirsty River? What's the Secret River of Guild Wars 1? Nanny says, like, imagine they hide it and then another game comes out with the same name. How is that resolved? Because if we can't see it, other companies can't either. Well, the person with the earlier trademark gets precedence, surely. Whoever has the earlier date. And it's settled internally. And that mess comes out when it comes out? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I know. It's a good point. You feel like people are dooming over this for no reason? See, like, okay, a year ago, right? A year ago, the meta, the Epilogue meta had just come out, right? We were in the Midnight King. Right, rewind the clock, everybody. It's 1 year back, 12 months. The Midnight King. It's only here. Were there a bunch of people being like, hee, I know it's called Janthir Wilds? Like, I don't remember anyone talking about Janthir Wilds before the Janthir Wilds. What was that about it getting released only 7 days ahead? I mean, yeah, I feel like people usually find the names right before the announcements. Nanny says Janthir Wilds and Secret of the Obscure were both visible in January. And they were both announced in... Are you fucking serious? You did know, you just didn't say anything. What? Are you serious? Okay, what about other stuff? Did you know End of Dragons before End of Dragons? Sometimes you do get a big Reddit thread and people notice early. I think Path of Fire, I remember people knew early, didn't they? I'm a bit hazy on that. There was the map, there was the leak. POF, there was a big leak. There was also the patch where Janundu worms appeared in Twilight Arbor before it came out. Do you guys remember that? Elfbot says, I remember seeing Reddit posts about Janthir Wilds trademark. Darren says, I remember that name getting leaked a weeks or so before it got announced. Yeah, POF did have a big leak. I don't know whether it had a trademark leak before the leak. Yeah, Papaya, that was it. Well remembered. Papaya. I haven't thought of that for a long time. Oh shit, this video is fast becoming another... This is when someone leaked the Balthazar reveal to WP all over again? Did that get leaked to me? Did the Balthazar reveal get leaked? Shit, if that happened, I've completely forgotten about that. I remember, my memory of the Balthazar reveal is that it happened in a trailer. That's my memory of it. Anyway, well look. So there's no trademark, apparently. So it seems like Nani is pretty informed of this. So what's your take then, Nani? Let's all gather around Nani. Nani, what's your take on this? What do you think that means? You can't find a trademark for what's happening coming up. Announcement is in a month. What's your vibe on the situation? Do you think there is no Mini X-Pack 3? Do you think we're back to Living World? And they don't need to trademark Living World because they've already got it? It usually leaks to the open community a week before because the X-Pack pre-order banner is out in the gem store. Nani, what do you do for a living? What? I feel like this is some Illuminati shit. There's like a secret underbelly to the community that have been, you know, digging for details but ethically keeping them. Nani said they did say there's another Mini X-Pack, so all I know is that it's weird. You hate leaks? You still remember when they revealed End of Dragons at the end of their stream? That might have been the most hyped I ever was for Guild Wars 2. The most hyped I ever was for Guild Wars 2 was pre-release. I'll tell you, I have such a visceral memory of getting into the press beta. Well, it was before that, actually. But basically, I got into an alpha build of the game. And downloaded it overnight. And I woke up to the sound of one of the songs that plays in the Shiver Peaks on that big white login screen. Oh my god, I was so thrilled. I was so excited to fucking log in and start playing. But yeah, the leaks were damaging. I mean, a lot of people loved the POF leak. And I remember when End of Dragons was coming out, they were all advocating for more leaks, saying it was too boring, saying there was no news, we need leaks, leaks are important. Look how excited everyone got about POF leaks, blah, 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 blah. Which was always a very fun one to talk about. Right, let's do the next comment. Sorry, guys, sorry. Look, we're a bit split here between the live community and the comment community. Let's get in on some comments here, shall we? So yeah, is it high art? Is it not high art, sorry. Is it great art about the limits of democracy? When I think about great art, about the limits of democracy, do you know what I like to think of? I like to think about that small moment in the 5th expansion of Guild Wars 2 in the Lion's Arch scene. Oh, brilliant. Okay, Cry Hero says, about the Mistgate. I thought, and I might be pretty wrong, I might be wrong pretty easily, I thought the Mistgate was closed. The Massart tried to open it. Then when Guild Wars 1 happened and the gate was open to the Foundry, but it can't be open to whatever place. But once it is open, it can be anchored, I guess, by those free spirits or whatever. Titans came, wiped out the Massart, went somewhere else or just died, who knows. But the gate was still open. Because I cannot remember if there were any hints about that it actually closed. No. And it was open that whole time, so Mabon thought Sveus would just go back through the mist on his own and sealed him via the barrier. But look at it from the Titan's perspective. Why would it want to go back to the Realm of Torment while it was commanded to go through the portal to Tyria 2? Maybe it just wanted to be free on Tyria and waited for too long to start fusing to Barvanisos. On the other hand, I don't know where this scheme belongs to the fact probably Menzies blocking the entrance to Barvanisos with the Shadow Flame wall army. Sorry, his Shadow Flamey wall. He did not want to keep the Titan there too, right? So he was probably blocking us just so we can not go and close the mist gate. Sorry, my thoughts are pretty clouded at the end. Also, to the self-sacrifice, I don't think you'd want to be a ghost when you can be flesh or bone husk person, you know? Ghosts are weird too, though, and so yeah, it looks like you can continue just as before. God damn, I confused myself so much here. Okay, listen, I think you have got this wrong. And I think you got it wrong really early on. So I'm just going to reread your first sentence again, and I'm going to stop when I think you got it wrong. Ready? Here we go. About the mist gate. I thought that the gate was closed. Yes, that's true. Masat tried to open it. Yes, that's true. Then Guild Wars 1 happened, and the gate was open. Wait, no. Now you're wrong already. No. There's nothing that is in this story. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there is nothing in this story that says the gate opened during this mist gate, this fucking gate right here. There's nothing that says that opened in Guild Wars 1. This gate was shut. The Masat were trying to flee. They could not get through it. The door of Kamali opened. Vizil Kulbron created a bunch of little portals, teleporting them to like Ascalon and so on, Maguma Jungle, and presumably Barvanisos. And the Titans invaded. This gate was their exit strategy, and it never opened. It did not open in Guild Wars 1. Sviam came from the door of Kamali and was transported here by Kilbron's magic, right? And then he was lingering here, and then Mabon found him, and then Mabon says, oh, I just assumed he'd go back to the mist. It's like, how? You've just sealed him in here. What do you mean he's going to go back to the mist? So that's where the confusion is. What the fuck's Mabon talking about? That gate, there's no information anywhere that says that gate opened in Guild Wars 1. Or at least that's my understanding. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong. Because if this gate could open, the Masat would have fled through it, right? Or there has to be more to the story. Maybe Kilbron's Titans came here, and then they opened it and recalibrated its destination so they could get even more reinforcements really quickly. And from that point on, it was open. Now, that will make sense, what I just rationalized there. That's cool. But the game doesn't say that. The game needs to say this stuff. That's what I'm getting at, right? Like, these details, this isn't fun speculation. This is just like, fuck, the story makes no sense. What can we imagine to fill in the holes? And look at the rest of your comment as well. That's all I can think from the same thing. Look from the Titan's perspective. Why would it want to go back to the Realm of Torment while it was commanded to go to Tyria? Maybe it wanted to be free on Tyria. Well, hold on. Did it? It's a Titan. What kind of character do Titans have? How much do they think? How much do they feel? How much do they desire? They were manipulated by the Staff of the Mists. If they're not being manipulated by the Staff of the Mists... sorry, the Scepter of Ore. They were manipulated by the Scepter of Ore. If they're not being manipulated, then what do they do? What do they think? What do they feel? You know, and this isn't like that sort of like Spectrum-like hyper-obsession with details. These are basic details needed to get the story. And it's all over the place. How can we invest in this when we have, like, nothing to go on? So anyway, there you go. That's my understanding. Same with the ghost shit at the end there, by the way. Why would you want to be a ghost instead of physical and blah, blah, blah? Well, I don't fucking know. They don't say shit. Okay, as Iris says, during your finale playthrough, I think Costage or Banjo kept telling you to read the gate. I think the runes on the gate say something? Did I miss you circling back somehow? Or maybe it was a joke that went over my head. Dude, I don't know. I missed that. Let's go do that. Let's go to the gate and see. And we'll do it en route to a POI or something. And actually get some gameplay. Because all told now, the mega Q&A on the last part, you've just been seeing me wandering around. Oh shit, I can't go through there yet. Wait, do I need a mirror to go through? Let's try just going south, I guess. It's funny, I've spent a long time now since this patch came out, playing the game, talking about the game, and I honestly don't know shit about navigating this map, what you can do. Is this just a giant dead end here to the south? Gate to the Mist is too confusing, it needs to be clarified. Why can one seer open gate but a whole race couldn't? Why can Asurans, but it's mainly to fractals? Why can the Aether Blades, etc.? Yeah, yeah. I have another comment in a minute, which is a little bit more about the nature of the gate. We'll talk about that in a second. So it looks to me like without using a Masart mirror or one of these portals, I have absolutely no mechanism for getting deeper into the map, which I didn't even realize. Let's go in this, I guess. I don't like this kind of map exploration. I really don't. So now we're like super deep in there. There's an ether tower. Did weekly reset already? It did, didn't it? By the way, what I've been doing with my Astral Rewards so far is I got all the stone growth weapons, which are like the boring bit. Now we can get the new skins and things, I guess. But we're 10 points away, actually, unfortunately. The roller beetle looks pretty cool. I do still appreciate getting mount skins and stuff in the Wizards Vault. I've really come around on it over the past, 20 months. I was really underwhelmed by the choices they made with it originally, but I think I'm warming to it. All right, let's see some Vista action here. Windows Vista. Do you guys know that there's an entire, like, artistic subculture based on Windows Vista? Or more specifically, Windows Aero.
Speak with the spirits and figure out what binds them to this plane. I will handle the rest. Some may need consoling, others may have misplaced something nearby. Perhaps your large cat can help sniff those out.
Oh.
If you see anything hostile approaching, give it a hard bonk for me. Yeah?
This might be good. Masart ghosts. It's like an artistic obsession with the aesthetic of Windows Aero, like mid 2000s view of the future. Rounded edges, glossy, glassy looking like icons, shit like that, and like that sort of futurist approach to the world. Kyung, why do I recognize your name? Maybe I don't. Hello. Oh look, this guy will speak to us. So many guildless had already died from the Mistburn, but then the Titans. Wow, they were dying from the Mistburn, they were slaughtered by Manacaz, and then the Titans finished the rest of them off. You've lost so much, but you're strong. Strong enough to carry this grief.
You certainly have a way with the dead. Wait, no, that came out weird.
That's good, that's funny. I believe you. I will carry it. I will bear the memory of what was lost.
I don't know what's happening. I have to get them out.
Oh, this is great. This is a good little moment to indulge in how dark this part of the story is. Whose is it? Is it mine? I just want it back.
Are the spheres behind this?
Are the seers behind this? Wow. Don't worry. I'll help you find what you're looking for. He wants me to find like an object of some kind? Memento sent. What, I collect them all? Are they leading me downstairs? I think they're leading me on a path to an actual memento. Oh, there's rich auric alchem there. Or maybe they were leading me upstairs. I'm really happy that this event isn't on a timer. Is that right? I mean, I feel like this is where it would start, though, not where it would end. Okay, the fact they were respawns tells me I just collected them all, probably. Oh,
Something about the ambient magic has shifted, and it threatens the ritual. Work with haste, Commander.
Did I get it? How does this work? Oh, there's another memento sent here. Oh my god, and there's more down here. Wait, am I just collecting these as item? Oh, there you go, memento. Okay, I got the memento. I've never said memento so rapidly. Really want that rich orichalcum, but I'll come back for it in a minute. Orichalcum, funnily enough, still sells for an okay amount. It's nothing like that, the launch magic of finding rich orichalcum. You know, I used to do that. You know, you used to run to ore and know where all the rich orichalcum nodes were there, or just the orichalcum. Do the Obsidian Sanctum jumping puzzle in World vs. World. Who was it that wanted this? You? I hope you're able to find it. I was executed for speaking out against the Bloodstone experiments. I feel alone, even among these kindred spirits.
This is the end.
With friends like them, who needs enemies, eh? No, I could introduce you to the other ghosts. I think not. For all I know, any one of them could have put me to the sword. That's pretty bleak, actually. It is bleak. This is good! Do you know what? This is exactly what I was just bitching about. You're here for nothing. You are here for nothing but to spit on our graves. I should set you ablaze.
I have to get them out.
Idle threats are beneath you, spirit. Save your sanctimonious drivel for someone who cares. Oh, it's quite hard. I actually have to do good. Alright, here's your item. I found it. What is it, by the way? Oh, I don't actually see it. There you go. Oh no, we're gonna fail. We're gonna fail. With friends like them, who needs enemies? Well, surely it's this. That does put me at ease. Perhaps I'll draw like-minded souls to me. Whatever I end up, thank you. Yeah, it was the most, like, naive waffle. So, therefore, the correct answer. We should have stopped them. The Bloodstone, the Mythgate. We were so desperate to avoid our visions. They still came true. That's interesting. He relates the Mistgate to their visions, i.e. the prophecy. But the prophecy was about the Door of the Kamali, not the Mistgate. This lends more credence to the idea that the Mistgate did open and flood them with Titans. Again, let's do the theory of the longest sentence. Regret is the first step. You can still move on if you're willing. Maybe I can. I'll always carry this with me, but it doesn't have to be all that I am. I like this, but I also don't like that I'm a therapist again. Who is it? Whose is it? Is it mine? I don't want to do another memento. We're going to run out of time. We need to give them therapy, not items. All you shopaholics out there would do well to remember that. No, not you.
The prophecy. It can't be. This is the end.
No, not that. Shit, are they all looking for mementos now? There you go, we should have stopped them. The Bloodstone, the Mistgate.
Resisting my communion more and more. Their fear will keep them trapped on this plane.
There we go. All right, longest sentence wins. That is the answer. Yeah, I'm kind of, I just mentioned, oh, you don't get the full story if you just beeline green starburst, green starburst, green starburst with Heart Thorns. Well, look at me here, Any one of these Massart could have just said, oh, by the way, the Mistgate can be recalibrated, blah, 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 blah. And then it would have been like, oh, well, there you go. There is an answer in game. It's just that you didn't do all the events and you decided to talk about the content before you'd played it all. And I would have been, oh, that's part 2 of ritualist training?
I'd like to find out one day.
Oh, look at that!
You did an exceptional job, my fellow ritualist. The Empress will be pleased to learn that her instincts were correct. Cantha will benefit from assisting the Alliance. As for me, well, it's back to work. There'll always be more spirits for me to lend aid to. Hope to see you again. Visit the harbor sometime soon, yeah?
That was really good. I wonder if their souls go to the same place as the rest of us. I'd like to find out one day. Excellent question to ask. So, Ritualist Training 1 is in Sai Tung, is it? Revealing Ritualists? Yeah, I don't know. Goodbye, Kyung. That was cool, having a little ritualistic or, you know, Canthan angle to this. Okay, looks like we're doing the meta right now. Help Livia breach the Maw by charging the Scepter of Ore. Well, anyway. Okay, what were we doing? We were on our way... I completely forgotten what we were... Oh, we were going to go to the gate. That's what we were going to do. Yeah, well, let's grab this POI while we're in the area. It's a good little quest there. And, of course, I do still have a couple more questions to read. As soon as we get to the gate and read this, I'll swap back to them. Don't you guys worry. In fact, so it looks like when the meta's not on, these giant portals are blocking us the whole time. Which means we can't get in there to get the stuff. I could go for maybe a mastery point. That's actually another sort of map completion-y thing for us to do. Again, we can't get into there. The thing is, right, the idea that Bavanissos is wrecked because it's got a Titan eating it is a really cool concept. And it's a way for them to not do the real Bavanissos, if you will. But why is it in a cave? I don't really like... What, is that all Surveyor did that as well? I don't like this thing that is buried in a mountain. I really think it should be out in the open sky being eaten by a Titan. But maybe it wouldn't work, right? I don't know. It's that weird thing where it's like, is this all the Titan around us? It is the mountain. And the thing that we see and fight at the end... I mean, we just fight its heart, right? But its head is inside its own body. I don't know. By reaching this... Okay, yeah, you never get anything good. Never any good lore on those. Usually the name of the achievement is about the closest you get. This is the Southern Bronchial Well. Okay. Shall we see if maybe that one's possible? I believe I'm near the waypoint right now. The second waypoint, no? Here, there is a squad. I have noticed, by the way, this map is extremely active. It's very, very, very quick for a map to fill with player count. This is the Trodden Forum. Rotted Titan Abra up there. Oh, I never got the Orichalcum in the end, did I? Hmm. Oh, this is interesting. The shadow...
So the good counselor has volunteered to come along and sanction them.
The Shadow Army just wandering around here. Interior. There's loads of Shadow Army even here. So they've just been coming through the gate. The thing is, right, there was Shadow Army in the vicinity of... was it Shadow Army in POF? Right, let's get back to the Q&A. I can't get to the gate until they progress more of the meta. So I'll wait here for the south lane to open up or something, and we'll see that. And in the meantime, we'll read some more of your comments. Okay. So next, and I only have a couple of these. There is a reference to the Mistgate. But, okay, so this is from Danny, Florida. So one of the big questions in the last part was, you know, I said it cannot be. It cannot be that this goes to the Realm of Torment and the Foundry of Failed Creations, because that's where the Massart were trying to escape through. But they wouldn't be trying to escape directly to where their enemies were. That makes no sense. It cannot be the Realm of Torment. So I said it has to be that thing can go to multiple locations. But again, the story doesn't talk about it. The story doesn't explain that it goes to multiple locations. So like the whole plot doesn't really make any sense, right? It has to be reattunable, right? So that's what I said last time. Now Danny came in and said, yeah, look, there is a reference to the Mistgate being attunable to different locations when we are leaving the Foundry of Failed Creations instance. You read it out loud in part 2 of this series. It was basically the very end of the patch. And he gave a timestamp and a quote. And the quote is this: the Mistgate beckons you back to Tyria. You can sense that Mabon has set it to deliver you safely to the Alliance staging ground in the Mistburns Barrens. Yeah, so it is in-game that Mabon has set it, but I feel like this isn't enough. Okay, so when I read that first, the fact he set it to deliver us to the staging grounds, to me that was more like it's a portal to that could what am I trying to say? That it's my interpretation of that when I first read that was the thing he was setting is where it was specifically spitting us out, and that what the dialogue was really about was just the devs explaining why we're teleporting to where we need to be, right? We're not actually going to the other side of the door. We're going, you know, to this other nebulous area a bit further away, just because that's where the closing instances are going to be. And basically I read that as you know, more of a Doylist thing than a Watsonian thing, where it was like, okay, we're going to teleport you right over there. I mean, that alone, to analyze that, he could set it, like, you don't even come out on the other side of the gate. You'd come out, because that is true, right? You don't come out on the other side of the gate. You can go out anywhere arbitrarily across all of Tyria, or nearby the gate. I don't know. The idea that it was set to this reality as opposed to another one wasn't something that really crossed my mind. I guess that, yeah, that kind of says Mabon configured its destination. He could have set it to take us to Nyos, I suppose. He could have set it to take us to the underworld. He could have set it the Hall of Chains or something, I guess. And you know, that other thing where it's like, okay, Mabon's locked in the foundry once he's closed the door. I mean, I guess because the door's closed. He can't set it, go somewhere else, and then close the door, right? So he's safe on the other side. Yeah, I don't know. What I would say is, yeah, okay, maybe there you have it then. We look at this one tiny bit here, and we say, okay, the gate can go to different locations. It just feels so badly delivered as information, you know? And to do it after all the action, and to do it after all the story, and to do it almost in like a hand-wavy accidental way. This reads to me like this isn't revealing to us that the gate can be moved. This assumes we already know that the gate can be recalibrated, right? This to me reads as though Arenanet assumes the players already know the gate can be configured to multiple locations. But the player doesn't already know that. Or at least I didn't already know that. Maybe just because I missed it, I forgot about the detail. I mean, is the detail there somewhere else? He could have said, take us to Guild Wars 3, that bastard. Yeah, I know. I just... like, I really think there's a scene missing. With so many of these things. And so when we talk about the quality of the writing, can I imagine that these writers have figured out the logic of the story, and they know it works, and they know it's correct, but over the 2 years that they were writing this plot, some of those small details never made it in, due to rewrites or whatever, you know, too many chefs, there's not one big writing director or whatever, do you get what I mean? And so crucial details and crucial scenes aren't there, and they've kind of lost track of what's there and what's not there. And it's just weird. It's like, you know, we were in that event with those ghosts a second ago. What if that event had explicitly talked about how the gate can be recalibrated, or some side lore or something? Would this all have been okay then? I was just arguing that it's fine if people miss stuff. So there you go, look. People miss the has set it to, those 3 words in there. Is it too thin though? Right, next we've got Jack Good, but thank you, this is really good. You know, you've got a link, you've got a timestamp, you've got the quote. It's amazing. Okay, so Jack Goodchild says, 6201, says, I'm wondering if the human/gods element mentioned near an hour and a half in the last part is actually calling back to those original descriptions of humans, that the humans arrived here on Tyria. I know the Forerunner idea isn't necessarily ideal. I'm not hugely into it myself. But if the Mistgate and these godly things react specifically to human interaction, maybe it's because the gods created or designed them to be like that. Or more so than that, or more so than that, the idea that these things isn't terrestrial to Tyria, which is why the Massart couldn't open the gate, It was an alien concept that only humanity, by design, were able to engage with properly. I don't know. It's such a spaghetti mess of threads and mysteries. I think the issue Arenanet are running into with this style of storytelling, intending to emulate Souls-like storytelling in some ways, is missing that each new nugget of information is supposed to tantalize, provoke, or intrigue the reader. I think at this point, so many threads are either not ending or not getting satisfying continuations that it's becoming frustrating that nothing's being answered, even in the abstract. Yeah, so I think you just echoed my feelings perfectly there with that second sentence, that second paragraph, and using lovely words like tantalize. Here's a story. Well, let's move over to the meta now, so we're not leeching, and you guys can see the south lane. They've just killed Gorsable, basically, and we can get the POI. So here's a story that makes sense to me, and I think this works. It's just the duty of the game to put a point on it and actually platform it, right? I guess we're going to the north lane. This whole time I was trying to go south, but there was no way through. So you get these staging grounds, just like in Dragon's Stand or whatever. You know, you need at least 5 players in each ring. You get a little vote to say that you're ready. Once everyone's in, there you go, central forces are prepared, blah, blah, blah. You get a nice player count as well. You know these player counts where it says there's 19 at the north, 22 at the central, 13 at the south? You know, I think that those would be really cool if they just stayed the whole way through the meta, right? It would be really cool to be able to see. Imagine any lane-based meta in this game, right? It would be really cool for everyone all the time to be able to see the player distribution. You know, let's say you're doing Triple Trouble Worm. It would be cool to see, okay, there's fucking no one at Crimson. And then the hive mind, you know, people could just figure it out for themselves. I really think that's useful UI. I think that, I feel like being able to click this to reveal bonus information or something, like you click it and it will tab left, tab right or something, would be really, really handy in a lot of metas. And, you know, maybe player count details, or even just a mouse over tooltip, frankly. Would be cool. Mouse over tooltips for the thing. Anyway, right, here's a story that I think makes sense. The gods come to Tyria. Now, there was a bit of discussion on... over in Ore, you guys will remember me reading this in the personal story. In fact, you'll remember me reading this early on. You know Liss? Liss's very name. We're on Odgen right now. In Guild Wars 1, you only ever had Lissa. But Guild Wars 2 started revealing this idea that there were two goddesses that made up a whole. A bit like Lear, I guess. 2 facets of a whole. There's the pistols, but there's also this idea in Ore, right? There were some lore documents. And again, I got these from... so over here, I'm pretty sure it's here in Malcor's Leap. There's a lot of really interesting lore about the gods, okay? And the circumstances through which they came to Tyria here, and all these scrolls. One of these is where, you know, it mentions that Liss, one of Liss's names is just Liss. L-Y-S. Not Lissa, just L-Y-S. And that's where I got my Elementalist character name from. And, you know, I stopped playing my Mesmer, I started playing Liss, the Elementalist. Anyway, so those lore scrolls, they're all pretty good. And they all kind of have a theme and a vibe. There is like a sort of a general sense in all of them. They don't fully explain anything, but there's a sense that there was some great tragedy in their past, that the adventures the gods were having in the mists weren't going well. There was some big tragedy, okay? And eventually they came to Tyria looking to build a paradise, looking to get away from that tragedy. And when they came, they brought, and I think it actually alludes to just, they had lots of people they brought with them, maybe the Forgotten in some part too. But they brought the humans with them. So that's what those scrolls really talk about. And in Discord the other day, we were kind of having a bit of a debate as to whether, to what extent they suggest that the humans' original homeworld is destroyed. To me, the scrolls don't say that at all. You can maybe read it into them if you want, but they don't say that. They say that there was trouble and turmoil and strife amongst the gods in the distant past. They don't say the humans' original homeworld is blown up and inaccessible, blah, 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 blah. I like to believe there is still another realm out there with native humans. I think it's really shitty and boring for the world building to say it's been destroyed. And it's kind of like a fan choice to read that into those scrolls. It's not written in the scrolls. It is written that they clearly had a lot of drama in their past, right? And maybe the humans that they brought to Tyria were a part of that drama, but it's all very non-specific. Non-specific in a fun way, by the way, because it's not about the main story. Anyway, so we know that the gods came here They brought the humans. At some point while they were here, Isgarin became aware of them, was founding the Wizard's Court. I like to believe that, yeah, maybe Isgarin built the World Spire, and now transportation to and from this realm, from Tyria, is not so easy anymore. So how did the gods leave again? When the gods fled, what did they do? Did they just open a portal like the Consortium did to Fractals of the Mists? Or, you know, when we go to World versus World or whatever? I mean, for years that seemed fine. It's not seemed that special to get in and out of Tyria. But now we have this idea of the World Spire and, I don't know, Arenanet's come up with this Mistgate thing. So I think it maybe makes sense that the gods left with the Mistgate. The opening portals to the Mists is actually really hard. World versus World and Fractals are kind of a special case, all right? Don't worry about those too much. And frankly, the thousands of other examples, they're all special cases. Don't worry about them, right? It's incredibly hard. And so they have this gate. They leave through the gate, and the gate is left behind on Tyria, okay? So the gods are worried about this. They're worried that they've opened a portal to the Mist that they can no longer defend because they're not on Tyria. They have their avatars, but they're not there, and there's a gate. So I like to believe that they hid that gate in a reliquary in ore, or defended by the Forgotten, or whatever. But they knew that one day this gate would be found. They knew that eventually it would get out. They knew that, you know, like, it couldn't be destroyed for whatever reason. People would seek it. They tried to keep it away from the Massart. Maybe they collaborated with the Seers, whatever, right? But they knew that eventually it would be found. And so, they loved humans. Maybe they felt guilty for fucking up the humans' original world, whatever. The fact is they brought humans to Tyria, right? They liked humans. So yeah, maybe they said, okay, look, this gate is configured such that humans can operate it. We believe in humans. Humans are like our babies, right? We care about them more than the Jotun and the other races. King Doric, you know, left a real impact on us, whatever. I don't know what that whole story is, why they would care more about humans than anyone else. But at the end of the day, they basically said, look, so no one can operate this gate. We want the Forgotten to hide it. We want the Seers to hide it, whatever. Definitely not the Massart. But I'll tell you what, the humans, when a day comes that the humans are standing on their own 2 feet, if they ever need to flee from the Elder Dragons, maybe, or if they find a way to defeat the Elder Dragon, blah, 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 we want to allow humans to use it. So that's what we're going to do. And humans can operate it. And so the Massart tried forever to open it, and they just can't. The Massart knew that it was something to do with the gods, and the gods had been tampering with Bloodstone magic. So they were like, fuck it, we'll bring the Keystone. We'll try and open it with the Keystone. More sacrifices. The Seers must know. More sacrifices. It doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They all end up getting wiped out. But Svias knows, or Menzies knows, that humans are the key. Humans will open it. So he eventually now baits these 3 White Mantle over. And that's why the White Mantle can open the gate. That story maybe makes sense. The thing is, if I'm imagining the next mini X-Pack, can I really imagine Arenanet explaining all of that in a fun way, a pithy way? Are they even interested in that? And there are still questions. With what I just said there, I think that will make sense. But then it's like, okay, years ago, the White Mantle had humans here. They had, sorry, the Massart years ago had humans here. They had Saul here. There was that assassination by in the last patch, right? The mysterious person who died. Well, what the fuck's that all about? There were people there. That woman and the ring and all that. Oh shit, I was dodging. I guess that's not dodgeable. So why didn't the Massart use... So this idea that the gate is specially coded for humans and the reason the White Mantle could open it is because they're humans, it doesn't quite work. Because the Massart would have tried that. They would have tried that, guys. Surely. I mean, how little credit do we give them? You know, Manacaz is supposed to be like this incredible, like, inventor type, right? Like, scientist type. Maybe they did try it and it didn't work. I don't know. So, it is a funny one. How the fuck did the White Mantle open the gate? If the answer is humans, if it's a Forerunner, Reclaimer, Halo style thing, I kind of feel like that's going to be a bit iffy. but it sort of works. I don't know whether they'll explain that. So yeah, also, by the way, that assassin from the last patch, what the hell? I'm going to ask now, live chat, people there in live, what do you think that was all about? I haven't even thought about that until now. What was going on there? Absolution didn't explain that at all. So just as a reminder to everyone, and obviously people in the YouTube comments you can drop as well, at the end of Absolution, we came into this room over here, and we found out someone had assassinated Manacaz, remember? What's the idea? Sviam assassinated Manacaz? Is that a bit boring? How's that really revelatory or, like, worthy of a cliffhanger? Who killed Manacaz? That doesn't even really map onto the Menzies theory, because what are we saying? Menzies was fucking here and assassinated him? That doesn't make any sense. This story is so unfinished. And then, right now, what I mean there is, surely the... You know what? At the start of the next mini-X pack, just how many days away, guys? I'll tell you what, in 130 days, they best have one hell of a fucking recap. This next one had best opened with, okay, here's everything we know, and here's an opportunity to ask basic questions. Weighing Sorrow, what is the heart of the obscure? Those should be the first lines at the start of the next one. Bojan says the Titan did it. That was clear even in that patch. Was it? By Sveum, do you mean Sveus, or is this another character? No, I mean Svius. Svius, whatever. I thought there was an indication that Isgaram was an assassin and went by a different name to the Massar. Yeah, but no, that was the killing of Yagon, though. That wasn't this. Oh shit, I'm in Central now. I'm not even showing you guys the lung event. Hold on. No, I'm not in Central. Yes, I am. Oh shit. I've been in Central the whole time. Yeah, I was thinking it was a bit more engaging than I remembered. Oh shit. Is it over? Oh god. Wow, that barrier just opened. I didn't even show you guys the north or the south there. Sorry, everyone. Well, look, I'm going to take this opportunity now to sweep through the map. Darren says, I doubt it. The whole premise of the mini X-Packs is you don't need to play the previous ones. Sorry, man. I think you're a bit out of date with that opinion. Dude, look at... Did you play this? Look at Janthir Wilds. You're telling me you don't need to play Secrets of the Obscure to understand Janthir Wilds. You absolutely do. Janthir Wilds is a full-blown sequel. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They went hardcore sequel with this. A good 80% of the cast and like subject material and stuff is all inherited from Secrets of the Obscure. They're definitely full-blown sequels. Okay, sorry, it's really hard to play and read the chat. And I feel like I'm on a timer as well. Obviously, we've only got 2 minutes. There's a mastery point up there. Oh, I wanted to go to the gate as well. God. Did they create portals to TP me over there? Because I couldn't find it when I did this before. Fuck, is the entrance to the JP only available at the end of the meta? God, what kind of a JP is it, by the way? Is it like an epic length Silverwaste style JP, or is it a quick one? There's a talking ghost around here? Is there? Oh god.
Oh, normal attacks don't seem to be doing much. Maybe if we drop something heavy on them.
It's up there.
Try using your journeykin to pull down that debris. That might do the trick.
Oh, sorry, no, I did already commune with it. It's because I didn't click that it didn't ding on the map. I was really confused for a second there. Okay, so we got that.
Don't seem to be doing much. Maybe if we drop something heavy on them.
Go to the Northern Hollow, I guess. Let's see if we can read chat. So, also, just pointing out, the White Mantle / Caudicus's plan for the gate was never confirmed. The commander even pointed out that the UN conference, their plan got hijacked. That's true, yeah. So Caudicus had an idea, But then when the guys finally got here, they were being manipulated and whispered to and stuff, right? By the Titan or Menzies or whatever. So whatever Caudicus's original idea did not necessarily come to fruition. I don't know whether we'll ever really learn what that was. I'm not sure that's too relevant. After the meta, it's fully open. The meta's on a 2-hour cooldown. Yeah, but my question is, in these next 40 seconds, is it fully open? After these next 40 seconds. I can't take the time to get that thing either. Okay, I'm doing this before I get in combat with those mobs. I'm doing this. Going into Livia's central portal, the necromancy portal, which is cool. Try and get the Vista up there. 16 seconds. That's too slow. Is it gonna... Doesn't it nuke and kill us all? Is that what happens? Damn, this character not having a Jade Bot boost, gliding boost. I can really feel it. It's such a crutch. Okay, so the Mist Gate... Does it have runes on it? Let's have a look. Does it have writing on it? It does have runes. It does. I can't translate those. That's not New Crichton. Even if it was, I'd really struggle. It does say stuff on it. What kind of runes are they then?
She was worried.
If it's a divine artifact... I don't know. Is that translatable?
Something you and Mabon had in common.
There's a waypoint next to the jumping puzzle. Do it now, and you can get it now, and you can do it whenever. Yeah, but where's the jumping puzzle? Bottom right, right? I actually do have a comment of someone that was guiding me everywhere. Where? Dude, where the fuck is that Vista icon just gone? I'm sure I saw a Vista icon. Oh, it's there. It's under all of their icons. Oh, shit. It was high up then. Damn. Okay, critical immune response in 5 minutes. See, this is a perfect example of how mounts broke vistas and stuff, right? This in core would probably have been a nice little mini jumping puzzle. Like an engaging little platforming moment. But now I just kind of sky scale and... Well, there we go. Here you go. This is the last vista of the map, guys. We've almost got Mapcom now. I repeat, Cottage has sent you a picture of the gate via DM. Oh, I see. Well, look, we've seen the runes. I don't know how to read those. Darren says, I still feel like they tried to do this in the bigger picture. Of course, there's a lot that tracks down to secrets, but I feel their intention is to be able to play this without Secrets of the Obscure. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. There's kind of a bit of an intent. Like, you know, especially at the start of the expansion, it's a new locale with the bears and stuff. This could feasibly be an entry point for people, feasibly. But when you really get into it, I think even just a little bit, it's basically a full-blown sequel. And look, the point is, when we think of the third one, I'm expecting another full-blown sequel. Barke says, what if Living Story has been converted to mini X-Backs and big X-Backs are still a thing? New Project Tyrion might just be a big X-Back as a surprise, maybe. I mean, I'm beginning to wonder if you can spot patents that early, then maybe you know, Guild Wars 3 might pop up on there at some point. I'm scrolling up because I'm trying to see what your responses are to the assassination plot. Sajuk says it was the Titan who killed Manacaz. Well, when was it confirmed a Titan killed him? Who else has an idea about the assassination? Because, hold on, what was in the script for that? What, didn't Manacaz go talk to the assailant before it happened? I'm on the wrong character, so I can't really see. So the commander said the Titan killed him, and Mabon confirmed it. What? In the patch? How does a Titan quietly assassinate someone? Are you guys sure? I don't remember any of that. I thought they left it as a mystery. We spent a long time talking about... Okay, we got to get that POI, like, up north. We got 2 minutes 40. Before these doors might oh, there's the sky. You thought it was a Titan because Mabon chased them in that little room. I assume it continued where he demanded it kill him, and then it didn't, and then it did all that stuff. Mabon, you've nowhere left to flee. Now, who are Mabon? A Titan. Well, what are you waiting for? Gonna kill me like you did the rest? Isn't that the later instance that you're reading? Oh yeah, and the character says he followed them into Barvanisos after the city. No. That's... What? Hold on. Manacaz is killing the Guildless and all of that, doing his experiments, right? Jeez, this mastery point's really high. Manacaz is doing a lot of fucked up, terrible things. It's the height of the Titan crisis. The Titans are flooding into the city. He can't believe it. He runs off into the back room and dies. Years later, Mabon comes to see the devastation and finds Manacaz's body. And also finds a Titan, but that doesn't mean the Titan killed Manacaz, does it? Alright, now I'm going to try and get this, which I assume is the jumping puzzle. I'm going to go back to the start, I guess.
Commander, they're marching on the
Actually,
Titan.
let's do
You should head that way.
this here. Yeah, it is the next instance, but it's a direct continuation of Mabon pursuing Manacaz's killer. No, Mabon visited Barvanisos shortly after the city's fall. So you're saying Manacaz survived the attack, hiding in that room, and Manacaz was one of the last to die. But then he also he visited it twice. Witnessing that Savias had become the city. I see. That really did not come across to me. I knew that he'd found a Titan in the city and he'd followed it and blah 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 and he'd let it roam around there. Obviously, we all know that. But I didn't know that here you go. This is the lungs, by the way. These organ chambers. That's the last POI, by the way. Oh, come on. No. Oh, shit. Can I not get there now? We'll have to try that again.
Commander, they're marching on the Titan.
Oh, well, that's fun, isn't it? Dying twice. Was this also hinted by the mini Titan we fight?
Done it! Quickly, close the rift!
Right, okay. Before we go to this last place, let's read this last comment here, and then we'll get in on the jumping puzzle.
The connection. Keep them away.
Let me mute this dialogue too, because they're just going to be rambling over it. They're going to be rambling over our rambling. Right. Next, we got Azure Avocado, who says, "Hey WP, so maybe I'm reading too deep into this, but during the speech by Queen Jenna, she says, Queen Jenna, change. Productivity. Why are we being attacked? What? Change. Productivity. Healing. Tyria. There are challenging days ahead of us. We are not ignorant. As long as there is ground beneath our feet, there will be conflict. But we are more prepared to face that conflict when we care for each other. Now, raise a glass to your neighbor, to Tyria, and the brightest of futures." And Azure Avocado says, "For some reason, when I heard this for the first time, it feels like Arenanet was talking to me. Not Queen Jenna." Wait, what? You mean Queen Jenna was talking... Oh, sorry, no, yeah. It felt like Arenanet was talking to me, not Queen Jenna. Sometimes I feel like Arenanet uses NPCs to speak to us. Did anyone else feel this way during the Queen Jenna speech? It's really funny for me to read this comment, right? Because for the past 5 years, maybe more, I have relentlessly felt, unendingly, constantly felt that what they write is meta commentary. That they're ways to speaking to the state of the studio, the relationship with the fans, you know, that very often they're mouthpieces for what they think and feel, and, you know, they're trying to reassure us, the community. Relentlessly, I've felt that way. And in pretty much all of my content, I've gone on and on and on about that. Like, oh, that feels like meta commentary. That feels like meta commentary. But when it got to the Giala patches, just before Secret of the Obscure, actually, no, I did it in Secret of the Obscure as well. I felt like it really, really came to a lot in Giala, in the Giala stuff. And I resolved more recently. I feel like I've said it so much that I sort of made a quiet little note to myself to stop making commentary about that. Because I've said it too much, I feel like. So I haven't mentioned meta commentary for a bit now. And as soon as I haven't, this comment comes on. Which is so funny. Yes, it feels slightly meta. I might have talked about that briefly in the last video. It does feel slightly meta, doesn't it? But, I mean, the other thing is with this, how could it not? In a lot of ways. In a lot of other ways, when I look at that bit of the script there, the Queen Jenna lines, it's like, fuck, what do we have her say about this? This crisis. We've got to have, like, a concluding speech, and they keep it very snappy and short, and then, you know, get out quick. So yeah, maybe it's meta commentary, but I'm a little bit worried. I thought it's meta commentary so often that I'm probably over prescribing it, you know. So yeah. All right, Osiris here. So there's only 2 comments after this. To further the discussion of Livia giving up her immortality, it would be meaningful to see her die. Characters so rarely die in this story, and even when they do, they get to come back via mist, ghost, extraplanar existence. Maybe that's coming later, but having her give up her immortality and waste away in front of us, or phase out, or whatever happens to Liches, that could have been the ending this expansion needed. For people to walk away thinking, damn, we didn't fight a big boss, but we lost Livia. So on that note, that's an interesting thought for an emotional beat at the end of the story, isn't it? And I feel like that would work. If Anise was... There are justifications for why Anise was with us on this. If it was Livia with us the whole way through the expansion, and we saw her boiling and getting frustrated about not using the scepter, and then ultimately she did use the scepter, so what, I need to use a mirror? Oh, by the way, there's another mastery point right here. I guess I'll grab that. You know, here at the end of the patch where she runs off frustrated would have had more meaning, but we would have connected with her more. We would have felt like, you know, it was this cool bonding experience. And then, yeah, for her to lose her immortality. Now, to me, her losing her immortality wouldn't necessarily mean she dissolves to dust in front of our eyes. It would just mean she starts aging again. But yeah, if they do it in such a way that it means she's going to die right before us, then yeah, that could have been quite a dramatic, emotional beat. On the other hand, if that is the story they had done, I can't help but feel I would have reflected on that as them just trying to close doors again. Oh, let's destroy the scepter, let's get Livia off screen, blah, blah, blah. But it would have been something of an emotional ending to it, yeah. I don't know, as far as character deaths are concerned, I think a lot of players, I think they're, like, risky. A lot of players really, really don't like them. They don't really, yeah, we already read that. That's the collection of letters. I don't know. It's the whole designed by committee thing, isn't it? Like, I think great stories have sad moments, right? They have emotional bits. They make you feel bad. They give you a sense of loss. They give you a sense of longing. They provide you with heartbreak. Great stories do these things. They have their ups. They have their downs. The downs are really important. The problem with storytelling for the internet in chapters is players just get lost in the downbeats and rage about it and get upset about it and they don't understand what it means to experience a good story. and they just say it's bad. I don't like that. I love that character and you've killed them. I hate you now. You know, and I think Arenanet look very closely at like short-term knee-jerk responses from the community, and so then they're like, oh shit, we can't do that anymore. We can't kill characters. Don't kill characters. It's scary. There's two risks. One, you're going to really alienate and upset people, and two, you're going to kill a character in a way that didn't feel earned and it feels tacky, like the Belinda situation, right? They're both risks. So I feel like they kind of just they sort of don't do that, which is the death of good storytelling. You know, there's a podcast I listen to, where the guys on the podcast reflected on something that I absolutely believe in. So in the UK, there's this show called EastEnders. For people that don't know, it's a soap opera, right? And in the golden age of EastEnders, right, there was a storyline going on about this really sweet woman who was being abused by her husband. He was like, you know, it was like domestic abuse. He would hit her. He would bully her. It was really, really grueling and scary and upsetting and, you know, not fun to watch. Okay, if there's a barrier there but I can just get through with a mirror, what is the point? So it was really, really riveting TV. And so I was listening to this podcast. They were talking about this moment in the story, and they said it does occur to me that if the general public during the golden age of EastEnders were asked, do you want to vote that character out? Should we vote this character out? This guy that's beating on his wife, blah, blah, blah. Should we vote him out? The general public would do it. They would vote the character out because they don't really know what's good for them in terms of media. What's really powerful is seeing those scenes, wanting to watch this guy get his comeuppance, you know, lingering with the drama. That's what the story's trying to do. It gives you the drama. But I think people don't understand that. They think very short term. Oh, this doesn't make me feel good. Oh, I gotta stop. And so and basically that's just a small example. What I mean is that general impulse, that general pressure, when you deal with like mass responses to things, will always just make things very bland and very boring and kill any of the accented moments, right? They'll just smooth it down until you've just got something for no one. And I think being a storyteller on the internet is really hard. I don't just mean games developers, right? I mean any kind of storyteller on the internet. I think it's really hard if you're engaging with your audience. It's not like, you know, when people used to be able to write an entire novel exactly as they want it. They can have the sad beats in there and they can have the payoff later at the same time or whatever, or they can build up for the next novel and ignore all response. No. When you look at like the storytelling that Arenanet are doing here, where you only get a bit and then there's just a wave of feedback, and then you only get a bit and then there's a wave of feedback, it kills the art. And I think that's what happens. They're leery about doing big emotional beats. They're leery about killing characters. They probably like, so yes, I think that would be a powerful way to end it, to have Livia die. But you know, I don't know whether we'll see much of that anymore because it's just going to get rounded out. The mastery point is down, not up. Let's see what we've got here. And I think they came to that a long time ago, by the way. A long time ago. I think one of the first big moments was probably the end of Season 1, where they had created some drama. They were going to kill Marjorie, and it leaked. Didn't it leak? And people basically said, no, you're not allowed to kill Marjorie because this is a trope. There's like it's like a negative gay trope to kill like lesbians very early or something. I don't know. I think it was something like that. But people took offense to it. And so Arenanet said, oh, we can't offend people, so no, we won't do that story beat. And the ending got rewritten. That's my understanding of the ending of Season 1. Or it was something like they had the ending, it leaked, and they may have just changed it because they didn't like that people knew the ending already. But they had like a certain build-up, a certain setup. It would have moved Casimir in an interesting way and so on and so on. But when there's a lot of opinions in the room, and I'm not saying people are unjustified to have that problem with the end, right? In that it doesn't really matter what your excuse is. Whether you think the pace was bad, whether you think that, you know, you didn't really know the character and they were being overly dramatic about it, whether it's because you really loved the character, whether it's because it felt like cheap shock, whether you felt like it, you know, it was, you know, some real-world politics involved, whatever. It doesn't matter what the reason is. The point is, when you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of opinions, it kind of just rounds it out, you know? I have no idea how to get to the jumping puzzle now. There is a guy. I could just TP to this guy. That would be pretty handy. Do you think he's a viewer that's doing this that would be handy to us? What happened to my Ellie? I got bored of it. I didn't get bored of my Ellie. I've been playing different classes and different characters through this whole series. I did Ranger, then I did Rev, then I did Mesmer, and now I'm doing this. And I've used the spear on all of them. All right, well, there you go. So we TP'd in. Thank you very much to this guy, Flu de Roy. Here you go. Snow Owl says, the trope is bury your gaze, where straight characters experience life lessons and growth through trauma and death to their gay friends' families. Oh, we got dialogue.
Here, when Baba Nisos was whole, it stood in defiance of the brutalist shapes and structures, drawing in some with kinder spirits. Some guiltless would snatch the occasional flower or fruit from the trees while practicing their flying. Once, the youngest plucked a red iris and returned it to me as a gift. I was too touched to be cross with her.
Oh, that's a little... that's very cool. It's not a reference to Gwen, but it's to make us think of the story with Gwen. It kind of is. It's a reference to the Gwen story, right? That's what happens in Guild Wars 1. You pick the flower, Gwen has it. I don't know if she gives it back to you or whatever, but it's to really gut punch us and make us think about these Massart children. It's very similar to the happy little girl dancing and playing in the fields in pre-searing. This is interesting. He describes the architecture of Baba Nisos as brutalist. They should have just plastered this place in concrete boxes. Well, there you go. Baba Nisos Explorer. Oh, we got double actually there, didn't we? We fully explored Baba Nisos. So therefore, we fully explored everything in Janthir Wilds. And I got Wayfarer complete. That's a big one. This whole year, I've had everything on this page done except Wildfarer because it's been impossible. Because it's like, this is a mystery map or this is a mystery map. Now we finally have it done. Wow, that's cool. That's a big moment. Of course, now this also exists to do the Metal Legion concert. Every time I look on event timers for this, it's like ages away. Well, there you go. Baba Nisos Explorer. Relic of the Living Sea. Oh, yeah. You know, I said I've been playing Gux in World vs. World. I've been using a new relic there. Relic diversity is actually pretty fun in World vs. World. Relic of the Living City. Trigger an elite skill, a healing skill, a combo field, disable an enemy, and evade an attack. So that's 6 options of things to do. No, it's not. It's 5 options. And then you'll get Soul of the Titan, providing increased attributes and all boons. If only Evade wasn't on there. Evade kind of sucks. All the others you can sort of reliably make a build for, but evading enemies, especially in PvE when they attack so slow, is always a pain. But you get all boons in the game. And there's no... Oh, there's a 30-second ICD on it as well. Ugh. Arenanet, why is that a 30-second ICD? Make it 10 seconds. And then if it's overpowered, then bump it up to 20. 30? Out of the gate? Ugh. At 10 seconds, a 100% concentration player, which has already made compromises to do that. 100% concentration player, 100% boon duration, let's be clear, could have full uptime, assuming they can hit an elite skill every 10 seconds and evade something every 10 seconds, plus all the other criteria. Like, that's already pretty hard, but it's a fun reward with a 10-second ICD. At 30? I mean, Jesus Christ, Soul of the Titan only lasts 5 seconds, and that can't be increased with concentration. Not to mention that all boons is not even that much of a novelty in some of these formats. Well, there you go. Some of these do look good. I'm quite excited about them. So I've got to do some hunts, some rifts in Barvanisos. I've got to do the challenge mode for Greer. Yeah, actually, I guess they'll just be the challenge modes, right? Yeah, challenge mode for Decima and Ura with the other one. I've loved Anthos in this map here, by the way. Do these guys speak? Ghost, ghost. Wait, am I at the end of the puzzle? Oh no, I'm at the end. Oh shit. Well, let's hope this works going down. Let's hope it works. Oh god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ooh, this is going to be quite good. Oh wow, TIL about that trope. That's a funny response to me. Oh wow, TIL. Listen, if you learn about if you hear about a trope and you've never come across any examples of it in real life or noticed it, is it really that fascinating to hear about? It's more like a bit of trivia than anything, isn't it? I don't know. Okay. We get a key for the map comp. We get the gift of Barvanisos, which is going to be useful for making the back piece. This thing here, Unknown Nightmares. This collection can be a useful reference for what's needed to create the Aurochs manifested. There's not that many items on this compared to the others. How expensive is the backpack? Is it on the TP? Aurochs. You think there's a book in the JP? Well, hopefully. Okay, so there you go. So let's we'll get to the last comment now here then. Osiris also says this. Yes, my Mandela effect for this entire expansion was that Decima and Greer called Ura mother. I think I said it in live chat a few times too. But it's because Decima calls him brother, and then they run off to the bigger, stronger Titan. The term brother is used by people referring to other group members. However, the journals don't seem to lay the groundwork that they would refer to each other in that way. Yeah, this thing about them being a family. Again, I can look. The three Titans. I'm much more of a believer, guys. Can I just propose this? That the White Mantle only ever forged the Titans. They never merged themselves in. Is there something wrong with that picture? Ura, Decima, and Greer are Titans. They are composed of lots of twisted, tortured souls, right? Or perhaps a predominant tortured, twisted soul, whatever you like. They're being forged by the White Mantle, but the White Mantle aren't inside them. Is that fair? Is that a way to do that? Does that explain why, you know, they're totally different? You got to think about this as well, right? If the White Mantle souls got forged into Titans, came to Mount Barrior, killed by the commander. When we met them at Mount Barrior, their whole speech is broken. They're clearly insane, right? They're not there anymore. They're fragmented, strange echoes of thought. It's not real thought, right? They're speaking poetically. We kill them, and then what? They're just back to normal now? Because when we fight the White Mantle at the end, they were completely Corpus Mentis, right? So I don't believe that. I sort of feel like just the White Mantle forged those Titans. Didn't actually forge themselves into the Titans. I think what happens, though, is when we play Absolution, the commander has that line, 3 White Mantle, 3 Titans, could it be that simple? And it kind of threw us off, and we started thinking, oh, they are the Titans. No, I think they're just the Forge Smiths. Is that right? Or was there something in-game that suggested otherwise? Oh no, here we go. 5 Tails in chat says this. There's a Mabon quote. Sorry. A Mabon quote or a commander quote? Yeah. No, the commander says, The 3 White Mantle members, and Mabon says, very good. Ulrich, Tatiana, and Judge, or as you know them, Greer, Decima, and Ura. So Mabon certainly forwards the idea that they are the Titans. You really just want to know where Dern is from and who he is? I'll tell you what, I feel like they're both very answerable questions. I like to think Dern is from the Sunrise Crest, off beyond the west coast. And we even have Dada and stuff over there now, so there's reasons maybe Hooks to go there. And E could be anyone, really. I like Farron. Uncleek says you give the story too much credit. No, I'm open to being wrong on stuff. Like, think about just now, we were talking about the ending of the last patch. I thought that there had been, like, a mystery assassination, but apparently it's quite clear it was a Titan. So clearly I'm missing that detail. I could be missing other details, so I'm trying to... You know, I've only played it the once, so... So it's really good to be able to, you know, actually talk about and get a bit of feedback. On the subject of Dern, Sunrise Crest, north of Dawn, Waiting Sorrow's new name is a subtle hint. Oh, that's funny. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. All right, let me get a sense here. How do we get to this? You need to, like, fall down from the north or something. Hold on. Let me go to this guy. He's thrown up a tag because he needs help in this event. And he's also, like, in the area.
Lovebirds. Now, we'll need to lure them away from each other. My scout said that almost worked, but they'll try to reach each other if they're injured. That's where your Warclaw's chain pulling comes in. I'll give you the signal. Let's move.
Right, what? We need to pull them together, pull them apart, so that we can damage them. So how do I get fixation from one of them? Oh, there you go. What's this giant purple shit? Are we trying to drag it into that? Alright, there you go. He's vulnerable right now. I'm going to wait, put my symbol down, and then swap. I opened with the 4 there. That was a really bad idea. This build, it really isn't that good. We only have 4 minutes to kill these guys. A little bit scary. Delay on casting the elite there was really annoying. Just using Judge's intervention as an in-place stun break. No, he walked him instantly out of that sword.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, okay.
Wayfinder, use your Warclaw's chain to keep them apart.
Did we just put them?
If they're inseparable, they're invincible.
Did we already
Divide and
fail
conquer
that?
and all that.
I think we did. We instantly failed that. Okay. You know, the events in this map don't seem that bad. They're all quite interesting. They've got different mechanics and things going on that I haven't seen elsewhere. It's just a shame that the story design and the meta event design doesn't lead you to really experiencing them. Like, I could easily have never come here. I just came here on a whim because I'm looking to get more out of the experience. A lot of players won't. I don't think we're gonna have. We're not gonna get this. It's 3 minutes on the clock. Oh, maybe we will.
Keep it up.
If we don't.
I hope you monsters can understand me. I hope it hurts.
Oh, she's quite cool. I assume they'll try and phase again at 33.
Over my dead, rotten
Okay, so
body. Chain them up so they can't
Chaining
reach
him.
each other. They're inseparable.
Dude.
They're invincible. Divide
First of
and
all, the problem is I'm lancing because there's a break bar, so it's lighting the lance up. Alright, well that's alright. They pulled him back pretty quick. I hear there's quite a good spear willbender roaming build in World vs. World at the moment too. That's one down. And two.
Tragic.
Nice.
Well done, Wayfinder. I know one person who'll be pleased to hear you pitched in. Just one. I suppose it's pointless to be angry, isn't it? Titan spawn are what they are, and what they are kills us. But I hope they felt something dreadful. It's only fair.
Wait, what's her deal? What's she so vengeful about? Set up the gastric dispersion devices. Gas overwhelms researchers in 10 minutes, but it's like locked at 10 minutes. It's paused. Right, well, I think we did that one on the previous part. So let's go back over to the hidden nodule then. So it looks like you got... I feel like I've already missed a detail here, which involves finding the hidden entrance, but maybe it's not that hidden actually. There's a big old updraft there. Okay. You hope you get to chat with Indigo, Aaron, or Matthew about this so you can clarify the plot. What what outlet are you hoping to chat with them through? Right, so oh my god, this is kind of weird. I haven't done anything like this for a long time. So what are we saying? I just go north and I just walk up and see what we've got? Should I have my eye out for lore as we're exploring this place? A Titanic Undertaking Journal. Mabon had answers he was willing to share. To sum it up, he suspects the 3 Titans we've defeated were forged by the souls of the White Mantle members whose camp we discovered earlier. Ah! So that's interesting. So look at this then, guys. In the Titanic Undertaking Journal... So I'm going to read this out, guys, and as I read this out, pay very close attention to the phrasing. We had questions. Fortunately, Mabon had answers he was willing to share. To sum it up. I mean, he only gave us a couple of words. He suspects... There's not really an answer, is it? He suspects... The 3 Titans we'd defeated were forged by the souls of the 3 White Mantle members whose camp we discovered. But that phrasing is very ambiguous, isn't it? The 3 Titans we defeated were forged by the souls of the White Mantle. The Titans were forged by the souls of the White Mantle. What does that mean, forged by? Forged... They just did the forging? Or they were a part of them? To me, that leans more on they just did the forging. But that's what the story journal says. The in-game voice acting suggested the other way. Suggested they were the Titans. Not merely forged by the Titans, but were the Titans. So this is where, you know, we've seen it a lot lately, where the story journal is talking differently to what actually happens in-game. This one feels like it's outright... Like, that's not clarifying at all. What do you guys think, then? So, what's your take on that? Mabon suspects the 3 Titans we defeated were forged by the souls of the 3 White Mantle members. What does that mean? As far as the story journal is concerned, does that mean the White Mantle just made the Titans? or that the Titans are made of the White Mantle. How could their souls do the forging? Well, again, this goes back to the idea that they were operating the forge, right? Like, the idea is that they were like, they're like the Fury. Guild Wars 1 has like, you know, the Guardians of the Kamali, the Necrid Horsemen ghosts, you know, and the Fury. They're like ghosts that are operating the forge. And the idea might be that the original instance was supposed to have us go to different areas to fight them one at a time. But in the end, they ran out of time or whatever. You end up fighting them all together. Banjo says forged using the souls is how I read it. WP, what is your in-game name, please? It's just 3 letters, LYS. Yeah, there you go, Liz. Yeah, and then there's this other quote. Finally, after navigating the hellscape, we learned 3 White Mantle souls. Sorry, we located 3 White Mantle souls. Each soul was merged with a demonic entity, a clear indicator of how the 3 Titans had been formed. Is it clear? But hold on, that could just mean that a demonic entity, like a Menzies demon, right, or Menzies himself, a demonic entity has fused with the White Mantle souls and is using them like puppets to operate the forge. Not necessarily that they became the Titans. Again, if they became the Titans, why does it go from 2 boys and a girl to 1 boy and 2 girls? And why do they speak differently and speak like their family? And then once they're defeated and return to the mist, they're back to normal again? What, because the souls split apart? But then couldn't we at least have an animation or something that shows the souls splitting apart? Do you get what I mean? Like, this is... I feel like we're teetering on the edge of going in circles here. Demonic entity is just part of the Titan recipe, perhaps. Read Grandma's cookbook. There is the official Guild Wars 2 cookbook out now, guys. You can buy it. It's got some very nice art. Why aren't I hired as a writer? You make all the boring lore questions interesting. I mean, that's very flattering, and I really like hearing stuff like that. But I would be, I would encourage you to be a bit more cynical when saying something like that to me. Like, who's to say I could write it any better? Everything you've ever heard me say about Guild Wars, ever, has had the benefit of hindsight. Right? Like, I've been able to play a thing and say where it's winning or failing, right? Like, I've been able to critique a thing that has come out at the end. And that thing that came out at the end, you know, my ability to predict how good a story will be as it's written might be dog shit. And also, you know, they could have great writers, but it's how does that writing transform through a writing room and then through the realities of building a patch, you know, and voice acting it and having the content chop and change and so on and so on and so on. You know, like, there's so many layers there to that, you know, just the fact that a nerd can sit at the end of the day and nitpick a story doesn't mean they have any ability to write a story. I'll choose to be flattered, and I'm sure we all selfishly believe we'd all be good at it, but, you know, being realistic, I don't know whether it's any indication of anything. Also, Ulrich speaks as if he's not a human, but a Titan in the last instance. Tormented Ulrich. He says, you've travelled far to bear us the scepter. Long used in our kind's subjugation, it has found its rightful home. You're right, he does do that. By the way, okay, are mounts disabled? Mounts are disabled. Okay. Because I was going to say, I would just fucking Warclaw up there. Is my gliding boost disabled? Well, I don't know, because I don't have the thing equipped anyway. Okay. Some of the White Mantle use the /possessed emote. But, okay. I still don't understand. A Titan. I'm going to draw him. There's the Titan. Those are his eyes. And he's happy, right? That's the Titan. He looks a little bit like a squid. Now, a Titan, henceforth represented as a circle, he is lots of tormented souls that all go together. When we break the Titan, it splits into a bunch of mini Titans, right? In Guild Wars 1 anyway. And Guild Wars 2 has said when a big Titan can make different ones, and the big one's called the Progenitor, and there's the little ones. So if we take the idea that a Titan is lots and lots and lots of souls, then it makes sense that when they die, they make little ones, and it makes sense they have the capacity to make these other little ones. Because maybe fragments of souls or other souls are in the little ones somehow, maybe. Or maybe the souls always just stay in the big one, and these are totally mindless constructs when we fight the, you know, the shit coming out of all the rifts. I don't know. They didn't explain any of this. But anyway, the key point is that a Titan is either a soul or lots of souls. That's what makes a Titan. But now, Arenanet have given us 3 white Mantle who are possessed by demons, who are forging Titans that they themselves may or may not be in. But the point is that their souls are possessed by what? Titans? See, to go back to what Costage just said, Judge, as a white Mantle, Judge, as a possessed, he looks like a white Mantle, he speaks like a white Mantle, he uses the possession emote, he's been getting whispered to by these creepy voices, and he's talking as though he's a Titan. So, what is it? So the Titan is the soul that possessed the demonic entity that went into him? So you have a Titan, you kill the Titan, and now the Titan's soul is in the mist, and now it merges with the white Mantle, and now it's a white Mantle Titan hybrid. And then when we forge it, I don't like any of this. I don't like that we don't have any concrete way of thinking about any of it. It's just not fun. I don't know what to make of any of it. I think I'm progressing here, by the way. And this is all so inscrutable or whatever. It just it just says to me you're not really supposed to ask those questions. It just sort of says, you know, get over it, man. Like, it doesn't matter. But I don't know what story there is really for me to dig into if it doesn't. That looks like that's either I'm going the wrong way or this is the first technical jump in this JP. Or we're going to do a corner jump like that. They're tricky. I remember at launch, you know, the one in Caledon Forest, this one here, there's a really tricky jump just like that, and it took so long to learn and do. Nowadays, it's a bit like riding a bike, I suppose. Or it wasn't what I was meant to do at all, because I don't know where to go now. This is kind of silver wasty, actually. Maybe we go over here, because we couldn't glide to that before. This reminds me a little bit of the branded mine as well, which is, again, I got some footage the other day of me doing Sunrise, and that made me go to the branded mine. And you can see me, like, I actually get lost there, because I forget that in the branded mine, you have to immediately climb up on the right. Am I going backwards? Like, the branded mine is full of, like, false paths. It tricks you into thinking you've got to go one way or another way, but no, no, no. This is pretty cool. I was hoping we'd be getting, like, pickups or ghosts speaking to us as we climbed. This is very quiet, isn't it? I still think, by the way, the best jumping puzzle in the game. And no, I'm not saying my favorite, alright? I'm being really, really dogmatic about this here. The best jumping puzzle in the game is the one in Siren's Landing. Oh, you weren't expecting that, were you? It is. It's definitely the ghost lighthouse in Siren's Landing. Why? It's got everything. It's not too difficult. It's not too short. It's not too long. It's got brilliant spectacle. It's got lots of little details on the way up. It's got the cool fucking shining ghost ship thing at the top. It's awesome. It's got a good mix of like small jumps mixed with gliding and stuff. It's got checkpoints. That shit is awesome. That is the best. All criteria together, I think it is the perfect balance. It is the ultimate jumping puzzle. I love that jumping puzzle. Of course, there are some I feel more nostalgic about or have more acute experience. You know, Ember Bay. That what's it called again? Shit, I've forgotten the name. Hell's Chalice? Hell's Chalice? Is that it? The Chalice of Fire? Fuck, what's it called? The crazy one. I mean, that's very special, and that's, you know, and a lot of the core Tyrion ones are all very exciting and interesting too, but, you know. Well, we're continuing to rise. Oh, there is a book. Oh, shit. Nice. Thank you very much, Five Tails. Damn. Is this the one book, or are there multiple books? Chalice of Tears. That's it. Thank you. There you go. Chalice of Tears. There you go. Guardios agrees. The Siren's Landing JP is really good. I mean, it came at a weird part of the game, right, where people were burned out by jumping puzzles, partly because of the Chalice of Tears. Or, you know, they were missing them or whatever. It's very easy to gloss over Siren's Landing because it was sandwiched in between so many big and incredible patches. And there's so much to talk about with Siren's Landing. You know, it's an easy thing to forget about, but it is an incredible jumping puzzle. Okay, looking over at the live chat. In Bowery or Peak... Greer says, Ura, Decima, return to the foundry. And Decima says, Greer, I'll meet you in the fire. Yeah, like, I get it that they go back to the foundry. Kostic says, so look, I'm starting to think the Titans' personalities might be based on the demonic entities that possess the White Mantle. So it could be that the Shadow Army possessed the White Mantle to forge the Titans, which their souls could then inhabit. I think you're onto something there. So Greer, Decima, and Ura are they're demons, right? They're probably Shadow Army, right? They're probably Menzies. Sorry guys, they're probably like Menzies general, Menzies related characters, probably. But we'll put that to the side for a second. They don't have to be, and some people don't believe in the Menzies stuff, so fine. For all of those people's sake, let's just ignore the shadow bit. But the point is, demons from the mists had the White Mantle forge these Titans so that they could use them as bodies. That, I think, makes a lot of sense. That kind of works. The White Mantle are possessed, and it's the things that possess them that move into the Titan bodies. Thorman says, I wouldn't thought a Titan soul would be in the mist. I'd assume it would just split into the original souls after it dies. Not that that's based on anything. No, I think that's fair, though. Okay, so when the Guild Wars 1 hero killed a fuck ton of Titans in Guild Wars 1 and sent them to the mists, what? They're just rampaging around there now, are they? Or did they find peace? I like to think that they found peace. Also, interestingly, Malix's comment on Wavering Sorrow Stalwart Heart's possession and that the demon inside her is powerful. But we don't know if Laus is Cryptis, or some other demon. Actually, it's called Skip Up the Volcano, if I have to be that guy. We had Searing Ascent in episode 5 as well, which was a very unusual jumping puzzle. Yeah, I think the Draconis Mons jumping puzzle is really good. As well as, like the Draconis one, it's not a jumping puzzle. It's an exploration puzzle, right? It's just an intriguing environment, and you realize there's a way through. It's a really interesting design, and I think that the Silver Wastes one too is just the same. This was a very similar vibe, you know, you're slowly navigating through these massive caves, chasms with falling sand, and you know, like they're not very. It's not very linear feeling. It is linear when you've played it a few times. You realize how linear it is. But on your first exploration, you're just kind of like, where the fuck am I? What's going on? Like, and you go through these very large environments, and you sort of feel you're kind of being breadcrumbed along. It's a very, very different thing, you know. Meanwhile, the Chalice of Tears is a very technical thing. So yeah, I like those as formats. Again, the Siren's Landing one is kind of a beautiful mix of both, I think. Okay. Which was my most memorable DLC / living world, and which was the most uninteresting? Well, the most uninteresting is really easy. It was quite recent. It was the End of Dragons. It was the patch that added a little bit here. That was all. That wasn't very interesting. You know, Dragonstorm wasn't great, but it was definitely interesting. As for my favorite, I look back extremely fondly to Season 2. Particularly the dry top half of it. I had a lot of fun with that. You know, finally getting proper new maps to explore. That was a really, really cool... All the events there were really excellent. The meta was excellent. The way that the vendors expanded as the patches came out. The story wasn't too bad. There was so much bitching and anger and upset about those patches as they were coming out, but they weren't that bad. And in retrospect, that basically everything that's been added to Guild Wars 2... I love mounts and I love Path of Fire, but everything since then has not really hit for me. In terms of like going on an adventure, exploring the world, traveling, none of it hits anymore, none of it. And it's because of mounts. Like something about the travel speed, the size of the environment, there's no like intimate detail anymore. There's a lot of intimate detail in Dry Top. So yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? But I really do think the start of Season 2 is fantastic. Season 2's pre-Heart of Thorns. Yeah, it is, yeah. But despite, that's just my personal thing. I think it's pretty indisputable that the Season 3 POF, Season 4 era, that window was the best the game ever got. That was absolutely astounding. And the highest quality Living World patches ever were the back half of Season 4. All of Season 4 was astounding, actually. They were doing so much with the game. Alright, let's read this book. Sorry to people who have been waiting. Here we go. Right. Mounts shouldn't exist or be very limited on ground. Look, I've always believed that there are a lot of opportunities with mounts to play with RPG systems, you know? I believe in saddle equipment. Different saddles for different mounts of different rarities can give you different mount speeds, you know, like legendary, and they can have cosmetics on them, so you can get legendary saddles, and people would work for those and stuff. I think saddles are really good. I also think feeding your mounts, petting your mounts, they like play with a lot. They display some of the stuff. Like when you do those hearts in POF, like at the Raptor place or at the Skimmer place, or the, you know, there's the hearts around the mounts. And it's like, you know, petting your mounts and like giving them resources. It's like food for the mounts. I think all of that stuff's really good. And they can represent worthwhile gold sinks, and they can represent resources and expenditures, which, yeah, would limit mount usage sometimes. Maybe it's really difficult to use a Raptor in the Shiver Peak Mountains. It's not familiar with that environment, so you can't ride it for that long, right? But that's the thing. What I'm an advocate for are those limits that get people on foot. That get people thinking a little bit more before they just essentially dev hack fly their way around the game. That's what they're doing. I'm a big advocate for that, but you'll never sell that to the electorate, so to speak. You'll never sell it to the broader community. Because anything that takes away any kind of movement, even though the game was thriving and brilliant and well-paced for like 5 years before Path of Fire, longer than that, Guild Wars 2 was excellent before Path of Fire. It works very well without mounts. You don't need to be able to fly around like a dev with no clipping, right? Even though that's true, people don't care. They say, no, I earned this mount. I earned this Raptor. I spent a long time doing that intro to Path of Fire. You cannot take it away from me. I should have it everywhere forever. And it's like, Arenanet, I think, made a huge mistake indulging in those mindsets. And, you know, it was... The glide... People won't agree with me. They won't. But in my opinion, the first domino to fall on this topic was the gliding patch. The Global Tyria gliding patch. That was a brilliant patch for most people. Most people love that release. They say it was the best thing ever. Wow, gliding in Corteria. You know, Arenanet put a fuck ton of effort into that as well, putting all the invisible walls all over the game to make sure you can glide into bad places. And people absolutely adored it. And that was the first domino to fall. I don't think it was necessary for the game. And I think it sort of it pushed us in a direction that of course they were going to follow when mounts came around. You know, other MMOs, they'll at least say, okay, get map comp before you can mount. Do this before you can get max move speed. Do that. They'll be character bound, not account bound, you know. Other games are much smarter about how they handle their systems. Guild Wars is just like, no waiting around to have fun, whatever that means. Go, 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 go. Wait, why is everybody logged out? I don't understand. Okay, next. Let's read. Sorry. Here we go. This is called treasonous literature. Now, over the past couple of days, I've had quite a few people saying they're really keen to hear me read this. So here we are. A single excerpt of the book remains legible. Advisory. This text has been delisted by the table of the Archsteward for seditious material. The table of the Archsteward. It's not approved for distribution. Existing copies are recommended for immediate destruction. Okay, I see. So we're full on, like, fanatic, authoritarian, book-burning mode, are we here? Persons found in possession of unauthorized literature are subject to penalty, including but not limited to fines, detention, transportation, execution, and community service. Jesus. So, what is this treasonous literature? Is this going to be something that you know, attacks Masart society in some very, very scathing way? ... It was the silence Janthir realized. I don't know who Janthir is. I know Janthir as a place in FF7. It was the silence Janthir realized. It should have tipped him off. Damn fool, he thought to himself, wings flexing on instinct. A fine so this is like Masart fiction, right? This is clearly like written by the Masart for the Masart, like it's a storybook. Damn fool, he thought to himself, wings flexing on instinct. A fine mess you've gotten into this time. The seer trap had sprung before he could register its presence, woven into the stone below him. It had been subtle, pragmatic, nearly Masart. Oh, I see. Here it's got, maybe they don't like the idea of him ever complimenting in any way some seer machinations, but it is arrogant enough to still put Masart on top. Nearly Masart. The blue tendrils of magic binding him held fast, pinning him flush against the cold wall of the ritual antechamber. Shadowcraft? No. Too reckless. While the mirror network remained throttled. Oh, this is pretty fascinating already. It's funny, when Janthir Wilds came out, they did that blog post, right? Just before Janthir Wilds came out, they did that blog post saying, okay, the Masart use Shadowcraft. And it was like, whoa, Shadowcraft, what is that? And then we don't really hear that much about it. I mean, it's the name of the mastery line, so it's cool to hear someone actually talking about it. It's like, that's when they slip into the Shadow Realm, right? And that's how they travel and stuff, I guess? No, too reckless while... oh, and it's when they go through the mirrors, right? So the mirror network was throttled. The hidden wings could no longer be trusted either. What are the hidden wings? Is that what they called the Masart when they were, like, invisible? Improvisation was the name of the game now, and Janthir's life would be the collateral. What does it mean to have the mirror network throttled? Why could the hidden wings no longer be trusted? For the moment, he affected a casual lack of concern. His attention turned to his seer captor. Viaro, the tragedian, regarded Janthir with a cold kind of satisfaction. Oh, wow, we're hearing about another seer finally, guys. 2 of his 4 arms folded behind his back. The other 2 arms occupied themselves with the Shadowstone dagger, as though mocking Janthir for ever believing the relic could be left so carelessly unguarded. The Shadowstone dagger? His old friend Viaro, who else could it have been? Deadly as any seer assassin, twice as prideful. Oh, they used to be friends? You're slipping, Viaro remarked lightly. The corner of his mouth betrayed his excitement. Junin kept his own voice light. So are you, he said. He returned the smile, hidden though it lay beneath his mask. An invisibility hex? One of ours, I suspect. I thought subterfuge anathema to your kind. Oh, really? The Seers? I thought the Seers were spies. I thought there was a sense that the Seers were constantly watching and judging and spying effectively on the Messiah. I'm sure I read a suggestion of that before. But here, no, he's saying that, or have I got the characters reversed there? Failure is anathema, Viaro hissed. No, I didn't reverse the characters. His face was close now, all lines and deep angles. My Phogos shall do whatever it takes to save this world from your vile chaos. Now that word Phogos, if I remember rightly, that's like the name of the Seer Horde, isn't it? That's like the collective noun for the Seers, I think. You know, like you have a parliament of owls, a pride of lions, a murder of crows, right? It's a Phogos of Seers, is that right? Will you? Junin breathed. Viaro's fingers found purchase on the facets of Junin's mask. We're getting kind of sexy here. With each clasp undone, Junin's mind wandered. How many creatures had they known? How many centuries had they known one another? How many of Viaro's forces had Junin killed? How many of Junin's forces had fallen to Viaro? In the end, only they were left standing. The two constants in the deadly calculus of war between their peoples. When Viaro's hands withdrew, Junin's mask followed. For the very first time, they knew each other fully, eye to eye. There you are, whispered the tragedian. For a moment they stood there, silent. A fleeting eternity. The page is torn away at the bottom. The messy nature of the tear implies passion. So it's smart, basically. Yeah, I will be honest, guys. Someone said, hey, WP, there's a like Snargle-esque novel in the jumping puzzle, or in the map, I think they'd said. So I was wondering this whole time if this was going to be a bit Snargle-ish. I don't think that that's Snargle-ish, guys. I don't think we get to the good... We don't know how trashy it is. Okay, so it's treasonous literature because it depicts romance between a Messiah and a Seer. There's some fun little details in there. Snargle is the Golden Claw. Yeah, Snargle is an immortal, and he was writing literature way back when. It's written too well to be Snargle. It's a little on the nose, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's only a couple of pages. There's going to have to be a nose on it, and there's not much more to build a face. Yeah, and I thought there was some good world building there. Again, every single one of these lore books has hit, hasn't it? These have all been really good. Look, the end of our Absolution is a mixed bag, the actual main story. And the main thread is so convoluted at the moment and, like, not fully explained and in an awkward place. But I have to say that they are hitting with a lot of things in this expansion. Snargle is Menzies. He unleashed Krologan on Keel to upset Jenna in Janthir Wild's finale. That guy saying, oh, WP, you should write. All right, if I had been writing, you would have seen Krologan. All right, Nyos would have been, like... It would have been Demon Knights Krologan in Fallen Divinity's Reach, like a demon-copied, you know, simulacrum of Divinity's Reach that's all fucked up. I really did love that idea. I loved that idea of these fractals, because there's that line. It says that fractal project, the fractals got like pulled into lots of different realities. They got scattered around. Some arrived in Tyria. Others could have arrived elsewhere. So I love the idea of the fractal copy of Divinity's Reach getting shunted into the middle of Nyos and then being subsumed by demons. And then, you know, a year later, the commander gets there and it's like, what the fuck is going on? I think that's a really cool setting. I was so excited for that to be Nyos. No, this was okay in the end, I guess. Rip Kralogan. You'll forever be alive in my heart. Oh. Right, so we resume the climb. I feel a bit odd, like I'm doing a jumping puzzle blind. And the commentary is like not at all about the jumping puzzle. Oh. This feels very similar in design to the jumping puzzle north of Kaineng, which I reasonably enjoyed as well. But you know, kind of big, just hopping around on like breaking architecture. Very similar, you know. Except that one has the view of the wastelands and the waters to the north of the city. This one is, you know. You're not going to tell me that I had to interact with something at the start, right, to get all the checkpoints to qualify for completing the puzzle? Because I didn't... When I TP'd to that commander tag earlier, it was the end, right? And I opened the chest, but I don't think I got an achievement or anything, did I? The weird thing is, right, part of the magic of jumping puzzles at launch was not knowing that they were there, stumbling on them, and you're still kind of in that delicious soup. Oh, that's Antho speaking. You're still in that delicious soup of not really knowing what all the game's assets and stuff are like. And so, you know, there could be any number of thrilling things you're going to walk in on. Nowadays, though, I don't really have that too much. Also, gliding kind of ruins it. Like there, I just missed, but I know I can glide, so there's no tension. What did that cost me, missing that jump? A couple of seconds? The Corteria ones were awesome. It's a shame his dialogue starts when I'm all the way down here.
Too touched to be cross with her.
Like, he just finished speaking and I got to the top of it. So is this the end, or is... I mean, there's a chest here. Did I get the achievement? Oh, yeah, I did. Traversing the Titan. Open the chest at the end of the jumping puzzle. There you go, we did it. Not too impressed with that, gotta be honest, guys. I appreciate that it's in the patch. But that's about it. So what else have we got? Annihilate 25 Titan artillery. Close the door. Successfully complete the Destroy the Charged Jade and Close Rifts event. Without losing the point. Yeah, I gotta do some Rift stuff. Defeat an enemy with debris in an event. Complete all 3 use medicine to reduce the Titan's inflammation and open a pathway events. Successfully use the Warclaw's chain pull to stop the Titans reaching one another. That's the event we just did, but we didn't get the achievement. Defeat Lex Stallion without letting him consume any spirits. Defeat Lex Stallion without being affected by his darkness. Now, I did learn about that. So in the meta, sometimes there'll be like dark patches on the ground. If you walk into them, it like cuts your damage by 25% or something, and you need to walk into a light patch to cleanse it. If you take more than 10 seconds, you lose the achievement, which I did. As you can see, I don't have the achievement. But now I know the mechanic. When I go back, I'll be alright. There was another one to like jump his shockwaves. I noticed a lot of people were just on sky scales in the sky using fireballs, which is a bit of a shame. But I like it. I like achievements like that. I kind of think the Gorseval bit's one of the better bits of the whole meta, really. It's got some nice mechanics in there. Not quite a Drakkar level, but you know. Turn in 4 pieces of positional data while helping Alva map the malfunctioning mirror network before it changes again. That sounds interesting. The malfunctioning mirror network? Intentionally sort a text into the wrong category. Oh, that's in the book thing. Okay. Successfully complete. Close the Titan Rift. Yeah. And then the artillery. It sounds like we've seen everything except this mirror network thing. Does anyone have any advice for me on maybe going to get that? We also then have this. The side quest. Oh my god, I have a gift. Whoa! What? Hold on, this was half an hour ago. Is that person still in chat? Holy shit. Thorny, is this the person who asked what my character name was a minute ago? Whoa, are you serious, dude? A gift. Hi, WP. This one dropped for me several weeks ago. I don't want to... I honestly don't have any use or any need for it, winky face. Keep it, gift it, sell it. Up to you. Thanks for the years of awesome content, love heart, from Iron Bolt. Oh, there you go, Iron Bolt's in chat. Dude, Iron Bolt, are you sure about this? Dude, that is so cool. It's a chuck infusion. Oh my god. I'll tell you what, that's so generous. Are you sure you definitely don't need this for anything? We can figure out something fun to do with this, for sure. Oh my god. Everybody give that guy a round of applause. What's that thing you can do in chat, on YouTube chat? You can do like the confetti thing. There, I'm spamming confetti. Dude, thank you so much. Oh my god. Wow. Okay, I will. Here, let's demonstrate it here. And we can definitely figure out a giveaway or an event. We haven't done any for a long while, but we'll figure something out. Here, I'll slot it. Okay, this is the exotic one, right? Oh, you can add or remove from legendary anyway. Damn, man, that's amazing. You know, I've had a queen bee before. And a few of the different infusions, but I've never actually had a chuck infusion. That's insane, man. Holy shit. Wow. Are chuck infusions still, like, you trade them outside of the game because the 10,000 cap is too high? That's so... Wow. Oh, Festive Confetti is at 9,799. That's from the Choya. Queen Bee is at 8,000. Fuck me, guys. Wow. I don't know what I can possibly say that will be an appropriate response to that. That's so lovely. Thank you. You know, I'm not... I don't have a face cam. You don't get to see me burst into tears. That's so nice, dude. Yeah, over 10,000, says CAO. They are, really. Oh, my God. That is crazy. I'm sorry it took half an hour for me to see that, by the way. Holy shit, you've never seen the infusion effect? Does it have a full damage or falling effect? Shall we see? The queen bee, like, splooges honey all around you, which is why I really loved that one. How come I only have 300 gold? I always spend my gold. I'm always making things. I'm always unlocking new skins. I don't hoard gold. It has always occurred to me that if I had hoarded gold, people would probably think, oh my god, he's really good at the game. You know, for like all my content, I'm sitting there with 10k gold. They'll be like, oh, do a gold making guide, WP. But it wouldn't mean anything. It's just that I spend the gold. The account has like shit tons of stuff on it, but I don't hold any liquid. That's so nice. Thank you very, 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 very much, Iron Bolt. Wow. And we'll wear it through the rest of this episode here. And this whole streaking effect as well, right? Yeah, the whole streak is a part of it too. Jesus. Yeah, one day getting an infusion collection might be really cool. Wow, I wonder what character this fits best. I reckon it'd look best on a Mesmer, probably. Right? God damn. Trying to associate Absolution with something positive. I'll tell you what, I'll always associate this jump puzzle with something positive there then. Sell it, make my club yarn, sell that. Yeah, there you go, and then have it. You've never seen this one? Cool VFX? I feel like this is a pretty popular one. Oh my god. Alright, shit, I've completely forgotten what we were doing now. You don't like the effect from running, kind of distracting? Yes, to be honest, I don't really use any infusions often. But it depends on the character. You imagine WP will like Janthir side stories released for Absolution? Yeah, okay, so hold on. Sorry, let's have a look at this here. Janthir side stories. So there's only one, right? It's case 382, Titan organ smuggling. And we get this from Livia. Help with touchstones. Commander, to no one's surprise, Mabon and the wizards have employed their typical cryptic form of guidance. I'm sure you're left with more questions than answers about how to proceed. To that end, I'm sending you this report on known white mantle... Oh. That's not it. That's just the thing from the main quest. This is just the main quest thing. Wait, what? Okay, hold on, guys. Maybe we have to go on to Liz here real quick. 1 second. Oh my god, I can't believe that. Thank you so much for that. The only one you use are the Dragon Eye Infusion. I think the Eye Infusion's pretty cool, yeah. A lot of them are really cool. Alright, Liz is getting Spectral Agony. She's dying.
Stuck in the Mersat mirrors.
Here you go.
Check in on that for me.
Here you go.
Yes, ma'am.
Here you go. Alright, so Liz did the 3 lanes, and she got the mail. And the mail was not account-wide, it was just on her. So, it's from Chief Inspector Lutz, case 382. Report of Titan organ smuggling. Commander, there have been some troubling reports of Titan organs being smuggled out of Bava Nisos, and gods only know what people are doing with them. To make matters worse, everyone on location is either Tyrian Alliance or Astral Ward. Between the two, I've got enough red tape to strangle a damn Titan. I can't exactly go kicking doors in without probable cause. Looks like I'm going to need your help. Magnus laughed me out of his office when I told him Evan's vaults were broken into by, I kid you not, a cat. That's awesome. Yes, a reference to the Lion's Arch heist. Hell, after something like that, nothing's out of the question anymore. Come find me near the field hospital the ward's set up. I'll fill you in on what I know. And look, I know you're plenty busy, but if we let this type of stuff slide, who's to say it won't cause bigger trouble down the road? Chief Inspector Lutz of the Lion Guard. Okay. Awesome. Holy shit. Okay, I thought that this was going to be maybe a 20-minute thing. What do you guys think this will take in terms of length to beat? Because I'm thinking we can dedicate an episode to it looking at this. Oh my god. Find Chief Inspector Lutz in Mantle's arrival. 28 objectives! Yeah, I got the mail because I re-enabled story. Maybe we should do a dedicated episode on it then, actually. The question is, what are the objectives, I wonder? It can be fast if you know where to do all the things. Well, I wouldn't want to rush it. That's the other thing, right? Here, real quick. I still didn't actually finish the goddamn Q&A. Right, here. Question 10. We've just littered it throughout the episode here. Rereading the open letter from Lahir. So I mentioned it was really weird and plot holy that Lahir had been to the Foundry and no one was even talking about it. So I want to amend that a little bit. There were a few comments. I actually responded, but I've taken this one in isolation. Oh, not this one. This one in isolation, okay. So Graven 2002 said this. They said, rereading the open letter from Lahir. I don't think he was going to travel to the Foundry. I think he was going to travel to the Foundry. I think he was just going to continue researching it. To quote it, all he says was, but perhaps we'll focus on the Foundry while you focus on the Titans. The entire letter before that is about library documents, and Gix isn't dealing with the Titans physically, so they're both focusing on researching their subject. So, yes, I want to amend what I was talking about in the last part. You guys are absolutely right. It's not right to expect Lahir necessarily to have physically been there. I think that's an interpretation, but it's not like a fact, okay? And so, yeah, by the end of the story, it's pretty clear Lahir didn't go there, right? However, I do want to stop real quick, though. It's still a plot hole. It's still weird that for a year, this guy was studying the Foundry. At the very least, studying the Foundry. Was on it, was like the main point guy for this. And he doesn't appear in the plot anywhere. He doesn't divulge his progress or his lack of progress. He's not referenced as having been done anything by Isgarin when we get there. The fact it just vanishes is a hole. It feels weird. Even if he didn't physically travel to the Foundry, I still really don't like that beat, and I still think it feels very weird and disconnected that at the start of the expansion, like, so you're, let me just say this, right? You're Arenanet. You're writing Janthir Wilds. You've planned it out. You know that it's going to end at the Foundry. The final beat is the Foundry of the Failed Creations. At the start of the expansion, the only time you talk about the Foundry is in that letter. You establish a character's researching it, and then proceed to not use that character or talk about their research ever? Like, not even in the smallest little way. It's really weird. That's so weird to me. It makes it feel like the ending being the Foundry was not always the plan. Because just like, why? If you're not going to do anything with it, maybe don't write that as a note. Right? Maybe don't put the note there. It's very, very strange. The fact he didn't physically go there helps it a little bit, but not the whole way. All right, and then the final one was this, which isn't really even a question. It's just about the content I wanted to cover here. So here's some help for the next stream when I explore Baba Nisos. First, the hidden jumping puzzle is in the southeast corner. It's near a waypoint. There's Anthos dialogue, a nice environment, and a book. Although I won't recommend taking the book too seriously. The side story, Case 382, will unlock after getting the achievement of Titanic Victory, where you have to do one of each lane in the meta, making it 3 times total. Of course, if you're quick, you can tag them all and be done, but since the meta spawns every 2 hours, maybe doing it as prep before the stream is a good idea, and that is exactly what I did, so thanks for that advice. There's another side story called Work Hard for Now, and it's the achievement that will give you the new Portal Scroll. It's got a nice little story, so maybe worth showing. Also, not to spoil it, but after finishing the achievement, you should enter the Mithrite Gambit raid and get the end of the little story, the lit story. There's a book in the Northern Hollow area that's only accessible during the mirror event there. Basically, you have to navigate a puzzle of Masart mirrors and find the correct route that leads to the book. If I remember correctly, the route's random, so good luck with that. There's also a book in the Southern Bronchial Well area. I can't remember exactly well. And there's another book that I can't even remember where it is, only that it was high up. It's not documented on the wiki yet. It's a note Tatiana wrote, and it's really creepy. So guys, it looks like we've got 3 books, an event with a mirror, and 2 side stories. Now, there's the Mega Gobbler, and there's the tome, right? The Mega Tome. How do I start those? Also, maybe we see if that mirror event's up. How would I know? Yeah, I haven't done the mirror event. So I don't know. Any advice on some of this stuff? It sounds like we got another episode of the series, actually, then. Doesn't it? It sounds like we're going to do a part 5. In which we do all of those. And it's a little bit less rambly and ranty and talking about... The Gobbler you just buy. Okay, from where? Hooligan's Route? Oh, okay. The Lion's Arch... Script cave with a bunch of random shit in it. The tomes, you start with an NPC in Lion's Arch near Sharkmoor. Wait, how the fuck did people find that? What leads you there? Mirror event is in the North Lane. Did you check that you can buy Order titles and Champion of Ore title from the script? No, I didn't see that either. That wasn't in the patch notes. Really, you can buy Champion of Ore as an actual title? For people that don't know or don't remember, at the end of the personal story, you get given the title Champion of Ore. But it's not an actual title. And that format, Champion of Ore, is kind of, you know, it's like Guild Wars 1 had the Champion title for the for GVG and all this. But it wasn't an actual title. So the fact that they've added it, I always thought that they would leave that until hard mode came in, but obviously they're not doing hard mode. I think when you finished the story, it pinged the collection. Well, hold on. So this is some good progress we can make here straight away. Bonus event merchant. Scrap vendor. April Fool's vendor. Lunar New Year. Super Adventure Box. Dragon Bash. Four Winds. Sovereign Weapons. Halloween. Winter's Day. The Tri-Key Chest. Lost and Found. The Portal Stone. A basic chair. The Lion's Pride Key. 10 gold to replace that. Arcane Flow Infusion. Saga's End Draconic Core. Another Heat Core Infusion. There are various invitations here. Invitation to the party. No, I don't think it's Lost and Found. The Gobbler costs 100 gold. It's from that char on the wall. There's a char on the wall? So it's not an actual script. It's a guy nearby. Oh, over here, where the players are crowded around. Ah, hello. Gar Leadclaw. I feel like I recognise your name. Hello, Odrin. Got excess stuff in your hands? I can exchange it for shinies. I can also offer you the shiniest shiny I have, but it's going to be very costly the first time you buy it. Sorry, that's clearly fucking script dialogue. But it's a char. Right? Hello, Odrin. Got excess stuff in your hands? I can exchange it for shinies. I can also exchange it for the shiniest shiny I have. But it's going to be costly for the first time you buy it. That's a script. I can say quality armor again. I think I'll save my shinies. Fair enough. Enjoy your shinies. Thanks for stopping by. Take care of yourself and don't be a stranger. Why is there a char here speaking like a script? It's his story that he was raised by script. He's the merchant from the Wizard's Tower. Is he? Tell me about this shiniest shiny. Gobblers and Exchanges Collector. Unlock Gobblers and Exchanges from different modes of acquisition. The Wizard's Gobbler uses this achievement to allow you to access most of these respective items. You may have to travel to Lion's Arch to update progress doing the following. Having the item in your inventory. Having the associated achievement complete. Okay, hold on. Let me go to my Gobbler. Still 5 points. Oh, no, I think we can make a purchase there. So my Gobbler is the Varatan Cultist. Check this guy out. I can't believe we just got that infusion. Thank you so much again for that. That was awesome. So here, what I usually do is I come on him, and, you know, I'll buy my daily machete. I'll check if there's anything good. Usually Dragonite Ore is good. Dragonite Ore is the one that I'm usually lowest on. You know, I won't buy any of those. I really hate the new confirmation pop-up that they've got for these. If they could turn that off, that would be so handy. Because right now, the confirmation pop-up is just annoying. It really slowed me down. See here, I can buy less. Oh no, I can still buy 6. I guess I could just hit enter, maybe. Yeah, and enter doesn't work. So you got heart, and I just go through. They're all over here. But there you go. So I'm now on the character. Oh shit, we got 48.5. Woohoo! I'm gonna put this. Oh, don't look now, guys. But we're playing the actual game. And he hangs out here because I've always found I get nice high frames here. It's just a nice cozy area of Tyria, you know. All right. So I'll take him to Hooligan's Route. Oh, I just heard the ding, 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 ding when we got there. Gobblers and Exchanges. So look, it's more full now. The Wizard's Gobbler I never bought. That's new, isn't it? That's basically a version of what you can gobble in the Wizard's Tower. The Memory Gobbler is the World versus World one. And I never bought that because, I mean, honestly, why would I use that? Parktown Personal Delivery Portal. I do have one of those. Oh, no, I don't have one of those. Wait, so hold on. To get the Mega Gobbler, I have to Ecto Gamble? shit. Did I do Sandstorm? Is that the one that I did? You had me at Shinies. 100 gold for the Wizard's Gobbler. That's new, right? I don't see the World versus World one here. It's funny seeing these old ones, you know, before you merge them together into the singularity. Portable Wizard's Tower exchange for a rift thing. Jeez. You don't need them all. You get the Mega Gobbler regardless. It just won't have the Tarkton menu option. I see. But still, it's AP though. And the Gobbler of Garbage collector title. Oh, do I have Glub now, by the way? Do I have the Glub? The meta thing yet? No, I guess I don't. I noticed, by the way, that title is the first title that has like parentheses on it, and it's pretty funny. So 100 gold for the Wizard's Gobbler. And then what are we missing? The World versus World Gobbler. The Ecto Gamble Gobbler. The Permanent Portable Provisioner, also of World vs. World. And then the Wizard's Tower Exchange, which will cost me just 1 Rift Essence, but I haven't crafted it yet. 23 objectives, yeah, and it wants me to do them all. The Ecto Gambling is going to be the brutal one. Stuff. So how do I pop the Mega Gobbler? Currently the Karmic Converter doesn't work with it. A warning. Your accomplishments and collected shinies determine what I can trade to you. Yeah, okay. So, guys, for fear of making myself look like a complete dumbass here, I'm sure I've done that 100 times today. Where do I get the actual Gobbler? Is it not in your inventory? Well, it's not in this guy's inventory. Might it be in Odrin's inventory, since Odrin spoke to him before? Sell the Chuck Egg sack, spend it all on Ecto. You need both Ecto Gamble ones. It's rough, all for 5 AP. I guess I did Sandstorm, because that's not on the list for me. That's the thing I just moved. Oh, the Wizard's Gobbler is... Oh, I was assuming the Wizard's Gobbler was just a Gobbler for the Wizard's Tower stuff. It wasn't also the Giga Gobbler. So this is it. This is everything. It's the Wizard's Tower one, and it's a... Oh, I see. The device shimmers. From the background, you can hear Leadclaw drop something. He snaps to attention. So many Gobblers. Oh, hey, Varrotan cultist. Looking to exchange stuff for other stuff? So the Karmic Converter. I cannot seem to get this Karmic Converter attuned to this device. Afraid you'll have to use your current one. What other exchanges can I access? Here's what we have on record in regards to what you can exchange. Anything of interest? I have excess globs of ectoplasm. Welcome back, big spender. Here's where you can make exchanges. I'd like to trade for Sandstorm cards, please. I really don't like this. You know how Oblivion, if you've been watching my LP for Oblivion, they'll sometimes use the dialogue system to deliver like quite complex UI stuff, and it's like, well, really, this needs its own UI. It shouldn't be using dialogue. I feel the same way here. It's a shame that this is using this feels, oh my god. Right now, I'm thinking it's better to just click through in my inventory. This is... Okay, so if I want to gobble, right, what do? I double-click that. And then I'm going to say, show me my Gobblers, please. And so this is The Sun Spears, the Spear Marshal's plea, which is those redemption wishes. That's handier because you have to go through dialogue on that. Alright, this is okay then, actually, since it pops all of those at once. Oh, and it removes them from the list. So we can do this. Maybe something like this, isn't it? It's just so annoying, you know? Like, what the fuck is the quickest way of getting through this shit? It was much better when you could just spam double-click a few times. They made it worse. All their attempts to make this cleaner and smoother made it worse. Okay. As far as the actual merchant menuing is concerned. But then the Karmic Converter has its own option. The Fractal Reliquary has its own option. The Leyline Matter Converter has its own option. And then it's and then Ecto Gambling. Anything from raids. Portable Magnetite. This is the guy in Eye of the North with the volcanic stuff. You can't sell them, unfortunately. Anything else? Are there any more Gobblers or exchanges? Look, it's me speaking to myself. That's so weird. Are there any more Gobblers or exchanges I don't know of? It might take me a while to attune those items or contact those people. Okay, nothing right now. Thank you. Take it easy, Gar. Okay, cool. All right. Well, so that's the Gobbler. And yeah, we got a lot of gunk-filled pellets here. One day I'll open these and we'll get the Carca Tonic, and it will be epic. If you guys don't know the story of the Carca Tonic, it's basically the rarest tonic in the game. And there's a theory that there's an infinite one. It's pretty insane. I don't know how many weeks worth of shit I've got here, but that's a lot of 250 gifts. Anyway, so then there's tomes. So the tome thing is also a side quest, right? Does that start with him, or does that start with somewhere else? We can unmute the dialogue now, since it will just be fun little Lion's Arch quips. Somebody else here that's new, that wasn't here before? Too many windows to get through for my liking. Wait till you get the Portal Tome one. Well, I was assuming the Portal Tome one would effectively just be this again. But with lots of options. I mean, I don't give a shit. I mean, you got a problem where people playing on low resolutions, it will fill up their screen. They don't actually have a scroll bar assigned to these, which sucks. So it doesn't scale that well. If they did put a scroll bar on there, then they could do that. Tomes is the NPC in the southeast corner of the map near Sharkmoor. Oh yeah, you guys said Sharkmoor. And what led people to Sharkmoor? There was a pop-up, was there? I mean, fucking Sharkmoor. I do love Sharkmoor. Also one of the best jumping puzzles they ever did. Oh my god, this entire stream, by the way, the list cam has been way too big. Jesus Christ. Sorry about that. Skrit selling titles is on the ground floor near the rock. Oh shit. You mean back in the cave we were already in? Go to the beginning of the JP. I'd actually technically say we're already at the beginning. Because this is hidden. It might be old hat to us these days, but this is a hidden, very, very hidden thing here. But I assume what you mean is by the Vista and... I remember doing this in the beta and it was blocked off and there were ways to sneak in. Good times. Good times. So much happening. The achievement description, possibly? Or the patch notes? I can't remember. I don't remember anything in the patch notes telling me to come here. Wait, you say the start. This is... Even after sliding down? I guess I'll tag this, because why not? Oh, we'll use the Vista to actually scout down there and see. Oh, I just passed it. Okay. This is good camera work on this Vista. I just passed it. We don't have to go all the way to the vista. All right, I'll turn around in a second. Oh. Past it. What is it? I was looking for an NPC. Is it something else? Oh, that's my alarm there. Oh, okay. There's people here. Interesting. Jasper the doggy. Russell the doggy. An Astral Ward Merrick Myrna. This is cute. This is a cool little place to put an NPC. There's a cat under her legs as well. Hello, do you have a moment? If not, you're still welcome to pet the animals. I was told you needed help. Good timing. I'd like to request your help if you're willing to offer it. Okay. A ward member reached out from the Mithrite Cauldron. Though it wasn't Zomorus himself, this ward member agreed with our ally that this artifact has potential. This is written a bit weirdly. Okay. Hopefully not another wager. Well, not quite. I can't make out the writing on it, but it should be revealed when enough memory essences are found. Are you able to help? By the 6th, of course I can. I deciphered some of the words and made a list for you to keep track of. Good luck. Work hard for now. Uncover the tale of a memory-seeking artifact and its true purpose. Note, you will need more than a raptor mount to get this job done. Just for now, shiny is shiny, and we get the Wizard's Portal Tome. Double-click to travel to various areas around Tyria. Destination options are based on progress in teleportation gizmos collector achievements. 15 AP available. Nice icon. Okay. So our first thing will be to get the memory essence in Blaze Ridge Steps. To think that we have to go up that high. I think fate is waiting on us, script friend. Adventure is out there. Hint, didn't you have to scale this monument to have a sky scale egg experience? Acrophobia? Luckily, we took a small detour to look at some flowers. Right, I do not get the premise of this quest. I get what I have to do, and I get what it's going to reward me with. But what is the story justification here? There's a script in the Mithrite gambit. The what has an artifact, a memory essence, a memory-seeking artifact. Why not just be the Heart of the Obscure? Yeah, okay, alright, so some excuse to go on a world tour. Well, it looks like there's lots of nice flavor text there. That definitely, guys, we're going to do another episode for these side achievements. I guess we'll be back for a part 5. Today we'll say was map completion, the jumping puzzle, the extra Anthos lore. I do want to find those books. What I'm going to do between this episode and the next episode is I'm going to figure out exactly where those books are or pull them off the wiki. So we can have big lore right at the start of the next episode. I'm keen to hear that Tatiana dialogue. You got something? You get me something? Where's this other thing, though? The title purchasing? He's on the floor? Never knew this JP was inside a Titan. Yeah, that's funny. Did they straight up reuse it? I don't know. Oh, we got the roller beetle race as well. That's true. That's something else to do too.
You bring me something?
You bring me something? He's got a good voice. Oh, I actually don't own that. The Endless Fractal Challenge Mode tonic? I don't have that. Oh, should I buy it? I don't think I will. Get the script across Gar on the floor. Bottle lobber. Exchanges?
This is for you.
Hooray, shinies. Appreciate it. This is the Shiny King, Matak. You buy shinies, yes? Prove you earn this shiny. Others in awe of your shininess. Okay. So 5 gold each. This is my story. Lightbringer. Magister Warmaster. Champion of Ore. Why? Why? Why did they do this? Champion of Ore, I get. This is my story. Okay, is there an update that means you get these just through playing the personal story now, and this is like a retrospective thing? But they wouldn't make you pay 5 gold for the privilege. So this is it. You just have to buy these here. I would guess this is my story is beating the tutorial, which is a funky idea immediately. But, you know, that's the line at the end of the tutorial cutscene, isn't it? This is my story. Also big in FFX. Then you got 1 for each of the orders. The thing is, Arenanet, there's still space to do things with the orders. Give me the title with your fancy new order stuff. I don't know. Alright, I guess they're basic bitch titles. So just Lightbringer, Magister, Warmaster. The funny thing is, when you're in that arc, they're constantly ranking you up really fast. And it's just like with Elder Scrolls, right? Where in Skyrim, all the guilds are really short and you gain ranks unbelievably quick. Get the exact same vibe from Guild Wars 2. 2011 versus 2012. Alright, and then Champion of Ore is definitely from beating the game. Well, that's where they would initially have been placed, I suppose. Oh! Purchase and use a corresponding title. This title can be purchased from Script King Matak in Hooligan's Route if you meet the requirements. Well, what are the requirements? Beating the personal story, I guess, but it says surely it must be an official title if a self-proclaimed Script King gives it to you, right? And they all say the same. Warmaster, Magister. Yeah, I don't remember these from the patch notes. I guess they might have been, and I just glossed over it. Does Arenanet still sponsor you from time to time? Because because there's no one more deserving than you. Thank you. That's very nice. That's probably not true. Lots of people are deserving of it. What I will say is, yes, I'm still an Arenanet partner. If you guys buy Secrets of the Obscure or Janthir Wilds, in the description I have a link. If you buy those, that helps me out. That's the extent of it. The truth is, if you stream other games, if you play other games, they'll pay you a lot more. They pay outsiders more than the partners, to be honest, in a lot of ways. Some ways. I mean, you know, I love being a partner, and they've supported the channel for years and years and years and years. But in terms of, like, do they pay me for specific content? No, that's more when you're a different streamer. If you're like a variety streamer, they'll go to you and say, hey, here's X amount of money if you promote us. That's not how it works for me as a partner. As a partner, instead, it's more like there's an expectation I'll make some content, and you know, they support channels that do that. So it's a bit different. Where's my Pooh Bar title? The Grand Pooh Bar. Wanya says, so they have no dev who could add these titles to the old content and just made an NPC to buy them from if you did the content? Wow. That's what it looks like, yeah. It looks like they don't want to touch the actual personal story. The thing is, if they... What I was trying to get at a second ago is if they integrated This Is My Story into the game. I mean, what? We're rewarding people with titles now just for beating the tutorial? I don't know. Oh, maybe that's... Maybe not all titles should be prestige. You actually start the game these days with like 50 AP, by the way. Make a totally new account, and you'll see, just through all the feature packs and the changes and stuff, you start the game. You're like, you can't be at 0. You can't actually start at the start. Banjo says, well, you can't replay those. That's true, yeah. The early personal story isn't replayable. But they could that doesn't really matter. They would retroactively immediately unlock them, right? For free. Instead, they sell them for 5 gold at a merchant. They did sneakily add Still Standing if you defeated Balthazar, was added in the patch. Yes, they do occasionally go back and do stuff. Alright, well there you go, guys. Okay, so join me next time for the conclusion of Janthir Wilds. Thanks for all the advice, thanks for all the chat. Join me next time, and what we'll do is both of these side quests, which both look pretty interesting, and we will open the episode with those lore books, and hopefully that Masat mirror event as well. I'll scout, I'll figure out where they are, we'll do that. Thanks very much for your generosity. Thanks for those couple of members earlier. Don't forget, I do announcements over in Discord. There's a link in the description, and you'll be able to see the next live episode there. And yeah, wow, what a day. Thank you, guys. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Have a great evening.
hay.
What do you think is the most fun in your opinion, and why? Oh my god, dude, that's a huge question. What, just in general? Do you know what I think is the most fun? Playing with a skipping rope.